Our boy is standing there, diamond card in hand, ex-girlfriend crying at his feet. And he looks down at her and says, I spent 5 years being your dog. We are done. Chills. Absolute chills. Okay, so let us rewind. Because before our boy became that guy, he was the most tragic simp on the planet. Meet Kai. 18 years old. Son of the richest family in the country. This guy was spending his days carrying bags for a girl who did not even know his middle name. Her name was Sarah. Top of the social ladder. Smile that could stop traffic. And Kai, poor, delusional, absolutely cooked Kai, was obsessed. 5 years. He did everything for this girl. Homework, lunch money, emotional support at 2 in the morning. But here is the thing about Sarah. She had a boyfriend. His name was Damon, captain of the football team. Big ego, small brain. And Kai knew about it. Everyone knew about it. And Kai kept simping anyway. Because love makes you stupid. And Kai was very, very stupid. Now let us talk about the moment that broke everything. The moment that should have woken Kai up years ago but did not. Because he was that far gone. Damon needed a car. Not just any car. A limited edition sports car. Imported. The kind of car that costs more than most people make in 10 years. And Sarah walks up to Kai with that smile. That smile that Kai had memorized like a religion. And she says, Kai, you are my best friend in the whole world. You know that, right? And best friends help each other out. Kai's brain. Gone. Deleted. Out of service. He paid for the car. Full price. No hesitation. Did not even blink. Just transferred the money like he was buying a cup of coffee. And Damon did not even say thank you. He grabbed the keys. Grabbed Sarah by the waist. And they drove off together. While Kai stood in the parking lot. Alone. Watching the car disappear. And the worst part. The absolute most painful part. Kai smiled. Because at least Sarah was happy. At least she looked back once and waved. That was enough for him back then. It is not enough anymore. Here is where the story goes from tragic to absolutely insane. Kai dies. Something happens to him. Something shifts. Something cracks open in the universe and sends him flying backwards through time. He wakes up. Eyes open. Ceiling fan spinning above him. And he knows immediately. He's back. Back to the beginning. Back to the first day of senior year. 5 years of suffering. Gone. Reset. Like someone hit the restart button on a broken game. But here is what is different. His memories are still there. Every single one. Every embarrassing moment. Every time he got played. Every receipt he paid that was not his to pay. Every smile Sarah gave him that meant nothing. All of it. Still in his head. Crystal clear. And Kai does not cry. He does not panic. He does not grab his phone and text Sarah good morning like he used to. He stares at the ceiling for exactly 4 seconds. Then he sits up. And his face is different. His eyes are different. The puppy is gone. The dog has left the building. And what is sitting in that bed now is something else entirely. Our boy has woken up. Kai reaches for his phone. But he is not texting Sarah. He is not checking her social media. He is not doing any of that pathetic routine he used to run every single morning. He is calling Marcus. His personal butler. The one man who has been loyal to the Kai family since before Kai was born. The man who watched Kai throw his life away for 5 years and could not say a word because it was not his place. The phone rings once. Marcus picks up immediately. Because Marcus always picks up immediately. Kai's voice is calm. So calm it is almost scary. He says, Marcus, I need you to pull up the financial files on the Sarah family account. Marcus pauses. Just for a second. Because in 5 years, Kai has never once called about finances. He has only ever called to ask for favors that somehow always ended up benefiting Sarah's family. But Marcus is a professional. He pulls up the files. And he reads them out loud. $10 million. That is what Kai's family has been sending to Sarah's family every single year. A monthly allowance. A gift. A donation to keep Sarah's lifestyle exactly as glamorous as she expected it to be. Designer clothes. Vacations. Private tutors. All of it funded by the Kai family. Specifically, by Kai himself, who signed off on every single transfer without reading a single line. Because Sarah asked him to. And back then, that was all the reason he needed. Kai listens to the numbers. Does not flinch. Does not get emotional. He just says, cancel it. Effective immediately. And lock the account so no new transfers can be authorized without my direct biometric approval. Marcus is quiet for a moment. Then he says, done. And just like that, in 30 seconds, Sarah goes from queen to broke. Now let us check in on Sarah. Because she has no idea what just happened. She wakes up that same morning in her beautiful apartment. The one Kai's money pays for. She does her morning routine. Luxury face wash. Imported coffee. Designer robe. She checks her account. Monthly transfer should have just hit. She is already mentally spending it. New bag. Damon wants to go on a trip. Maybe a quick shopping run after school. The balance loads. Dessert. She refreshes. Dessert. She calls her mom. Her mom has already been calling her bank. Panicking. The family account is frozen. The allowance is cancelled. Every recurring payment. Gone. Like someone flipped a switch. Sarah's hands are shaking. Because she has never had to worry about money in her life. Not once. It has always just been there. Like air. Like gravity. She never even thought about where it came from. She never asked. She never thanked anyone. She just spent it. And now it is gone. She calls Kai. Force of habit. Because whenever something went wrong in her life, Kai fixed it. That was his role. That was what he was there for. The phone rings. And rings. And rings. Kai does not pick up. Cut to school. Because Kai is arriving. And the moment he steps out of that car, the entire energy shifts. He has always been technically good looking. But before, he used to walk around with his head slightly down. Shoulders a little too eager. Eyes searching for Sarah the moment he got on campus. Like a lost puppy looking for his owner. Not today. Today he walks like he owns the ground. Because technically, his family does own a significant portion of the real estate in this city. But that is beside the point. He is wearing different clothes. The expensive kind that does not try too hard. Hair pushed back. No smile on his face. Not the fake polite smile he used to wear like a mask. Nothing. A clean blank expression that somehow reads louder than any emotion. People notice. Because people always notice when someone changes that drastically. Whispers start immediately. Did Kai get taller? Why does he look different? Has he always looked like that? He does not acknowledge any of it. He walks straight to his locker, gets his books, checks his schedule, and goes to class. Normal human behavior. But somehow, on Kai, today, it looks like a power move. It does not take long. Sarah finds him between first and second period. She is a little flustered. Still beautiful obviously, but there is something slightly off in her energy. The confidence is wobbling just a little. She grabs his arm. That move she always used. The one that used to make Kai's brain turn off instantly. His arm does not tense. His step does not slow. He just turns his head and looks at her. And his eyes are so flat, so unbothered, that Sarah actually stops talking mid-sentence. She starts again. Kai, something happened with the account. My mom has been calling the bank all morning. Do you know anything about? I cancelled it. He says it like he is telling her the weather. Matter of fact. No drama. No emotion. Sarah blinks. You what? The allowance. I cancelled it. Effective this morning. You will want to make some adjustments to your expenses. And then he turns back to face forward and keeps walking. Like she is not even there. Like she is background noise. Like she is literally nobody. Sarah is standing in the hallway with her mouth open. People are staring. Because Sarah does not get dismissed. Sarah has never been dismissed in her entire life. Especially not by Kai. Especially not like that. And here is where we come full circle. Back to that opening image. Because now it makes sense. After school, Sarah tracks him down one more time. This time she is not wobbling. She has regrouped. She has put her game face back on. She comes at him with everything. The eyes. The voice. The hand on his chest. The whole performance. Kai, I know you are upset about something. Just talk to me. You know I care about you. I have always cared about you. And Kai looks at her. Really looks at her. For the first time in 5 years he is seeing her clearly. Without the filter. Without the desperation. Without the 5 years of hoping she would one day look at him the way he looked at her. He reaches into his jacket pocket. And he pulls out a card. But not her card. Not the black card he used to hand her whenever she asked. This is his card. Personal. Reissued that morning under his biometric lock. He holds it up between 2 fingers. And he looks her dead in the eyes. And he says, I spent 5 years being your lapdog. Carrying your bags. Paying your bills. Funding your boyfriend's lifestyle. And you never once looked at me like I was a person. I was just your backup plan. Your safety net. He puts the card back in his pocket. We are done. Do not call me. Do not text me. Tell your family to get jobs. Sarah's eyes fill with tears. Real ones. Maybe the first real ones she has ever cried in front of him. And in another life. In the version of Kai that used to exist. That would have broken him. He would have apologized. He would have taken it all back. He would have handed her the card and told her everything was fine. But that Kai is gone. This Kai watches her cry. And he feels nothing. He just turns around. And walks away. And the camera, or whatever you want to call it, pulls back on him walking down that hallway. Alone. Diamond card in pocket. Done with the drama. Done with the years. Done with all of it. Our boy just leveled up. And this is only chapter 1. If you thought that was cold, You have absolutely no idea what is coming next. Because Kai is not just done being a simp. He is about to show this entire school, this entire city, exactly who he always was underneath all that loyalty. And Sarah, Damon, everyone who watched and said nothing while he got played for 5 years. They're all about to find out. Yesterday Kai canceled a $10 million allowance before breakfast. Today he pulls up to school in a car that costs more than the entire faculty's combined salary. And nobody is ready. The gates open, and this machine just rolls in. The kind of car that does not make noise so much as it makes a statement. Matte black finish. Custom rims. A limited edition model that has a waitlist 3 years long and requires a personal referral just to get on that waitlist. There are maybe 40 of these in existence worldwide. And one of them just parked in the student lot of an already very expensive private school. The engine cuts off. Silence. And then the door opens. Kai steps out. Same blank expression from yesterday. Same energy of a man who has already won before the day even started. He is wearing a fit that looks simple until you look closer and realize every single piece is either custom made or impossible to find online. No logos. No flexing. Just quality so obvious it does not need to announce itself. He locks the car. Does not look back at it. Does not wait for reactions. Just walks straight toward the entrance like he does this every day. Because now, he does. The parking lot is frozen. There is a group of seniors near the entrance who stop mid-conversation. A junior drops his phone. Literally drops it. Someone nearby whispers, "Is that a Corvette Phantom?" Those do not even ship to this country. Kai does not hear any of it. Or maybe he does and just does not care. Either way, he is already inside. Here is a quick update on Sarah's morning. She called Kai 14 times before he woke up. Then 7 more times during breakfast. Then 4 times in the car on the way to school. Then twice from the parking lot when she saw his supercar pull in and her brain completely short-circuited. That is a grand total of 27 missed calls before 8:45 in the morning. Kai's phone is on silent. Not even vibrate. Silent. The notifications are piling up like a mountain. Texts, voice messages, even a few messages from Sarah's mom which, honestly, bold move. The audacity of that woman to reach out directly after years of spending money she never earned. Kai glances at his phone once. Not to check Sarah's messages. He is confirming a breakfast meeting with his family's legal team. Something he scheduled last night. Something that has nothing to do with Sarah and everything to do with the next phase of his plan. He closes the notifications. All of them. In one swipe. 100 missed calls from Sarah could light up that screen and he would swipe them away without blinking. Because that version of him, the one who used to see her name on the screen and feel his heart do something embarrassing, that version got left behind when he woke up from that regression. The new Kai does not chase. The new Kai does not respond. The new Kai has things to do. Word travels fast in a private school. Especially when the word is, "Did you see Kai today?" Because by second period everyone has heard something. By third period half the school has either seen him directly or gotten a detailed description from someone who did. And the reactions are fascinating. Girls who never gave him a second look are suddenly finding reasons to walk past his classroom. A group of sophomore boys are quietly trying to Google the car he drove in. Teachers are doing that thing where they pretend not to notice but they absolutely notice. Even the social hierarchy of the school. That invisible but iron-strong ranking system that everyone follows without ever writing it down. Even that is shifting. You can feel it. Like a change in air pressure before a storm. Because Kai was never supposed to be interesting. He was the rich kid who acted poor in terms of confidence. He was the guy everyone knew funded Sarah's lifestyle and never got anything in return. He was the cautionary tale. The punchline. The background character in Sarah's main character story. Except now he is walking around like the punchline left the building. And something new moved in. And then there is Damon. Damon who woke up this morning and was immediately informed by Sarah through a series of panic texts that the money is gone. The allowance. The account. All of it. Cancelled by Kai like deleting a contact. Damon who has been driving a car paid for by that same cancelled account. Damon who has been eating at restaurants and going on trips and buying things with a budget that was never actually his. Damon who has been walking around the school for years acting like the king while the actual money belonged to the guy Sarah was stringing along. Damon is not happy. He is the kind of guy who has never had to actually deal with a real consequence in his life. Everything has always bent around him. His looks. His status on the football team. His relationship with the most popular girl in school. He has been living a life with all the benefits and none of the accountability. And now some quiet guy who used to carry Sarah's bags has just ended the party. Without a fight. Without drama. Just a phone call and a cancelled transfer. Damon decides this needs to be handled. In the way Damon handles things. Which is to say, loudly, publicly, and with as much physical intimidation as possible. He's going to find Kai. And remind him of the natural order of things. It happens between 4th and 5th period. The hallway is packed. Transition time means everyone is moving. Lockers slamming. Conversations overlapping. The general controlled chaos of a school between classes. Kai is walking. Alone. Not because no one wants to talk to him. Several people have tried today already. He has been polite but brief. Focused. A man on a schedule. Damon steps into his path. And he brings 2 of his football guys with him because Damon does not do anything without an audience. He plants himself directly in Kai's way. Arms crossed. That look on his face that has probably worked on every person he has ever tried to intimidate. Loud energy radiating off him like heat. We need to talk. Kai stops. Looks at him. Completely unbothered. Like he just paused a video. No tension in his body. No shift in expression. Waiting. Damon steps closer. The 2 guys flank out slightly. The hallway traffic slows down. People are stopping. Because when the football captain squares up with someone, you stop and watch. This is premium school drama content and everyone knows it. Damon says, I heard you canceled some accounts this morning. That was a mistake. You need to fix that. Today. Kai just looks at him. Does not speak yet. Just looks. And something about the quality of that look, the complete absence of fear in it, makes Damon slightly less comfortable than he expected to be. Damon pushes forward anyway. Physically. He steps into Kai's space. The move is designed to make the other person step back. Flinch. Show the crowd they are smaller. Kai does not step back. He does not step forward either. He does not square up. He does not raise his hands. He just does not move. Like a wall that decided it was done pretending to be a curtain. And Damon, to his credit, notices something in Kai's posture. The way his weight is distributed. The way his hands are relaxed but not loose. The way his eyes are tracking Damon's shoulders and core rather than his face. There is something trained in that stance. Something that was not there before. Or more accurately, something that was always there but hidden under 5 years of performing helplessness for a girl who did not deserve it. Kai spent those 5 years doing more than just simping. He trained. Every morning. 5 a.m. Quietly. Consistently. Because somewhere in him, even in the old timeline, even in the version of himself that paid for another man's car and smiled about it, there was something that knew. One day it would matter. That day is today. And Damon, somewhere below the ego, can feel it. But Kai does not throw a punch. He does not need to. Because here is the thing about a guy like Damon. His whole power runs on image. Status. The way people perceive him. Take that away and there is nothing left. So Kai does not attack the body. He attacks the brand. He lets his eyes drop. Slowly. Deliberately. Starting at the top of Damon's head and going all the way down to his shoes. A full scan. Unhurried. Like he is doing an inventory check on a clearance rack. And then, very quietly, so the people closest can just barely hear, he says, "Is that jacket from the outlet mall?" Silence. Immediate and total. Damon blinks. What? Kai tilts his head slightly. The stitching on the left shoulder. And the way the collar sits. That is a knockoff of a knockoff. The original retails for about $4,000. What you are wearing cost maybe $60 and they charged you $80. Someone in the hallway makes a sound. Half laugh. Quickly swallowed. Damon's jaw tightens. Bro, you better watch. Kai is not done. The shoes are interesting too. Same brand logo as the real version. But the sole thickness is off and the toe box is wrong. Someone sold you replicas and you have been wearing them to school thinking they were real. He pauses. For how long? It is not even a roast delivered with heat. There is no performance in it. No smile. No crowd play. He is saying it the way someone reads a receipt. Flat. Factual. Completely unimpressed. And somehow that makes it so much worse. Because the whole hallway can hear it. And the whole hallway is doing the math. This is Damon. Captain of the team. Sarah's boyfriend. The guy with the expensive car that everyone now knows was paid for by the person he just tried to intimidate. And he is standing here in fake shoes and an outlet jacket being calmly dissected by the guy he came to embarrass. The two football guys behind him are looking at each other. One of them is looking at his own shoes with a sudden expression of concern. Damon takes a step forward. His fists are closing. Because when words fail Damon, he goes physical. That is the only move he has left. And here is where it gets really interesting. Kai does not step back. His eyes drop to Damon's fists. Then back up to his face. And he says, 2 words. Completely calm. Think carefully. Not a threat. Not a boast. Just information. Delivered with the confidence of someone who already knows how this ends and is giving the other person a chance to figure it out before it gets embarrassing. Damon is not stupid enough to not feel it. The certainty in Kai's voice. The stillness in his body. The way he is standing like someone who has been in real situations and knows the difference between a guy who trains and a guy who just lifts weights to look good in football pads. The fists loosen. Slightly. Involuntarily. Kai nods once. Like he expected exactly this. Then he steps to the side. Around Damon. Unhurried. Like stepping around a piece of furniture. And he walks away. Down the hallway. While the entire crowd watches. And nobody says anything for a full 3 seconds because everybody is processing what just happened. Damon is standing there. In the middle of the hallway. With his back up. In his fake shoes. Having just been smoothly walked around by a guy who did not even raise his voice. By lunch the story has already mutated into 5 different versions. In one version Kai had a weapon. In another version Damon backed down immediately. In a third version that is somehow already circulating among the sophomores, Kai said something so devastating that Damon literally could not speak for 2 minutes. That last version is actually the closest to true. Sarah hears all of it. She is sitting at the table she has occupied since freshman year. Center of the cafeteria. Best visibility. Maximum social real estate. And the story of what happened in the hallway reaches her through 3 different people in under 10 minutes. And she is looking across the cafeteria at Kai, who is sitting alone at a corner table. Not looking at her. Not looking at anyone. Just eating. Completely inside his own world. The boy she spent 5 years treating like furniture just embarrassed her boyfriend in front of the entire school without throwing a single punch. Without even raising his voice. She picks up her phone. Calls him again. Number 28. He does not pick up. Across the cafeteria Kai's phone buzzes on the table. He glances at the screen. Sees the name. Sets it face down. And goes back to eating. The whole school is watching both of them. Doing the math. Feeling the shift. Something is very different now. Something has changed in the invisible architecture of this place. The rankings are adjusting. The stories being told are changing. And Kai, sitting in that corner, eating lunch alone, unbothered, unread messages stacking up on a silent phone, looks more powerful than anyone in that room. Exam day at Westfield Academy is a whole event. Not because the students love learning, but because this particular exam, the Advanced Mathematics and Sciences Combined paper, is the one that determines scholarship eligibility, university recommendations, academic ranking for the entire year. Teachers have been hyping it up for 3 weeks. Students have been stress eating and pulling all-nighters and forming study groups in the library until security kicks them out. It is a 3-hour paper. 40 questions. Covering calculus, theoretical physics, advanced chemistry, and a bonus section at the end that the department head Mr. Yoon personally wrote. A section he describes every year with the same speech. In 15 years of teaching, no student has ever completed the bonus section correctly. It exists to show you the edge of your current ability. Translation. It is designed to humble you. Every year students attempt it. Every year they hand in papers with the bonus section either blank or filled with desperate guesswork. Every year Mr. Yoon collects those papers with the quiet satisfaction of a man who believes some knowledge belongs only to people with advanced degrees. Today is going to be different, but nobody knows that yet. Sarah arrives early, which is unusual. She is not an early person, but today she has a reason to be here before the crowd. She needs to find Kai. Not because she misses him. Not because she feels bad. Because Sarah runs on strategy. And her current strategy has a problem. For the past 3 years, Kai has been her academic safety net. Not in a tutoring sense. In a more direct sense. He did her assignments. Proofread her papers. Slid her answers during group work in ways subtle enough to avoid detection. She never asked him directly. She never had to. He just did it. Because doing things for Sarah was his entire personality back then. But more than her own academic situation. She is thinking about the exam partnership. See, Westfield has a quirk in its exam policy. Students are seated alphabetically. And Kai's last name puts him directly adjacent to her assigned seat. For 3 years, that proximity was useful. Kai would finish early. She would get a clear sightline to his paper. Nothing traceable. Just a system that worked. Except now she has called Kai 28 times in 2 days and he has not picked up once. And she needs him to at least be cooperative today. At least go back to being useful. She finds him at his locker. She approaches with her most carefully assembled expression. Slightly apologetic. The look she uses when she needs something and knows the direct approach will not work. She says, Kai, I know things have been weird, but can we just be normal today? For the exam. Like we used to. Kai opens his locker. Grabs his pencil case. Closes it. Looks at her once. Study more. He walks away. Sarah stands at his locker. Processing. The warm expression dissolves. Because that was not even a rejection with emotion in it. That was a suggestion. Delivered like advice from a stranger. Completely disconnected. Like she asked a vending machine for help and it gave her a nutrition tip instead. She pulls out her phone, stares at it, then puts it away. For the first time, a small uncomfortable thought enters Sarah's head. A thought she has never had to have before. What if she actually has to do this herself? The exam hall seats 200 students. Long rows of individual desks. The kind with the little attached writing surface that is never quite big enough. Fluorescent lights. The particular silence of a room full of people who are all quietly panicking at the same frequency. Mr. Yoon stands at the front. He is the kind of teacher who treats exams like a military operation. Precise. Humorless. He has been teaching here for 15 years and he has the energy of a man who has never once been surprised by a student. Papers go face down on every desk. Mr. Yoon checks his watch. Makes everyone wait the full 2 minutes until the official start time. Then he says, "Begin." 200 pencils start moving simultaneously. Kai picks his up, looks at the first question, then the second. Then he flips through the entire paper in about 20 seconds. Not frantically, but scanning. The way you scroll through a menu at a restaurant you already know. Then he starts writing. Here is what is happening at the 15-minute mark. Most students are still on questions 4 through 7. The calculus section is taking people apart. There is visible suffering happening. Someone 3 rows back is staring at the ceiling. Another student is tapping their pencil in a rhythm that suggests they have completely given up on question 6 and are hoping inspiration will fall from the sky. Sarah is on question 5. She has been glancing left every 90 seconds, looking for that familiar view of Kai's paper, the one she has relied on for 3 years. Except Kai's arm is positioned in a completely natural way that somehow completely blocks her sight line. She shifts. He shifts. Not obviously. Not in a way she can call out. But his posture is never quite right for her angle. She refocuses on her own paper, tries to remember what she studied, realizes how little of the prep work she actually retained when she was doing it herself. At minute 13, Kai stops writing. He puts his pencil down, not dramatically, but sets it parallel to the paper, rolls his neck once, and sits back in his chair. Sarah notices. She stares at him. He is not writing anymore. He's just sitting, looking at the ceiling with the expression of someone who has finished a task and is waiting for the next one to load. She looks at his paper from across the aisle. The page is full. Both sides. All 40 questions, including the bonus section. Her brain cannot process this information correctly, so it just buffers. And she goes back to question 5. At the 15-minute mark exactly, Kai picks up his paper, stands up, and walks to the front of the room. 200 heads turn. Because nobody hands in an exam at 15 minutes. Not in this class. Not on this paper. The earliest anyone has ever finished was 45 minutes and that student still got a 72. Mr. Yoon looks up from his desk. He looks at Kai. He looks at the clock. He looks back at Kai. And his expression does the thing that happens when a teacher encounters something that does not fit their existing model of a student. Kai sets the paper on the desk, face down, says nothing, then walks back to his seat and sits down. Mr. Yoon flips the paper over, reads the first page, reads the second. His eyebrow goes up. His jaw tightens slightly. He flips to the bonus section. He reads it for a long time, much longer than the other sections. His expression is doing something complicated, something between impressed and deeply irritated, because Mr. Yoon has written that bonus section himself. He knows exactly what a correct answer looks like. He has not seen one in 15 years. He's looking at one right now. He flips back to the front of the paper, and then he does something that sends a ripple of whispers through the students close enough to see it. He picks up his red pen, and then he puts it back down, because he cannot find anything to mark wrong. Exams end 2 hours and 45 minutes later. Students file out looking like they survived something. Mr. Yoon asks Kai to stay behind. His voice is even, but there is something underneath it. Something that is trying to stay professional but is annoyed at having to try. The room clears out. Sarah lingers near the door. Not obviously, just close enough to hear. Mr. Yoon sets the paper on the desk between them. He says, "This is a perfect score, including the bonus section." Kai says, "Yes." Mr. Yoon says, "You completed a 3-hour examination in 15 minutes. Kai says, 14. I spent the last minute checking. Mr. Yoon's eye twitches slightly. I am going to be straightforward with you. In my professional judgment, this paper raises concerns. The perfect score. The bonus section which requires university-level knowledge beyond this curriculum. I am considering flagging this for academic review." Translation. He is saying Kai cheated, without saying it, because saying it directly requires evidence. Kai looks at him. Same flat expression. Unbothered. Then he says, "Put a problem on the board." Mr. Yoon says, "Excuse me. Any problem." Your level. Not the curriculum. Yours. Something you would use for reference. Put it on the board and I will solve it. There is a long pause. Mr. Yoon is calculating. Because this is either the boldest bluff he has ever seen from a student, or it is not a bluff at all. He picks up the chalk, turns to the board, and he writes. What Mr. Yoon writes on that board is not a school problem. It is not even a university undergraduate problem. It is a proof. A partial differential equation problem connected to a theorem that appears in PhD-level mathematics research. The kind of thing that appears in academic journals. The kind of thing that takes graduate students weeks to work through with guidance. He writes it because he is certain, completely certain, that no 17-year-old walks in off the street and solves this. Even a genius would need time, reference materials, a framework. He steps back, crosses his arms, and waits. Kai looks at the board for about 4 seconds. Then he stands up, walks to the board, picks up the chalk, and he starts writing. Not slowly, not with the hesitation of someone figuring it out in real time. He writes the way someone writes when they already know the answer and are just translating it from their head to the surface in front of them. Clean steps. Each one building on the last. The proof unfolding on the board like it was already there and he is just revealing it. Mr. Yoon watches, and his arms uncross. Slowly, without him noticing. It takes Kai 6 minutes. He writes the final line, sets the chalk down, steps back, and looks at Mr. Yoon. Mr. Yoon looks at the board for a very long time. Then he looks at Kai. And for the first time in 15 years of teaching, he does not have anything to say. Kai picks up his bag. Are we done? Mr. Yoon says, quietly, where did you learn this? Kai says, I read. And he walks out. Sarah is still near the door when Kai comes out. She heard everything. She heard the problem go up. She heard the chalk moving. She heard Mr. Yoon go quiet. And she watched through the small window in the door as Kai filled that board with something that looked like a different language to her. Kai walks past her without stopping, without looking, just past her like she is part of the wall. And Sarah is standing in the empty hallway, with a feeling she has never had in relation to Kai before. She always thought she had leverage. Social leverage. Emotional leverage. The leverage of being the person he wanted most. She thought that made her powerful in this dynamic. She thought she was the one with options. She thought Kai was the one who needed her. But here is the math that is doing damage in her head right now. Kai just solved a PhD-level problem on a chalkboard after completing a 3-hour exam in 14 minutes. He canceled her family's finances with one phone call. He walked away from Damon in the hallway without a scratch and made the whole school talk about it for 2 days. He pulled up in a car that has a 3-year waitlist. He has not answered a single one of her calls. And she is standing here realizing that the golden ticket she thought she had was never a ticket at all. She was the one who needed him. She just never knew it because he never let her feel it. He was too busy making sure she had everything she needed to ever stop and notice what he was giving up. The golden ticket is gone. And worse, she is starting to understand she was never the one holding it. By end of day, the exam scores are posted on the department board. This is Westfield tradition. Public rankings. Full scores visible. Number 1. Perfect score. 100%. Bonus section completed. First perfect score in the exam's 12-year history. A crowd forms around the board within minutes. People are reading it, rereading it, looking at each other, pulling out phones. Someone takes a photo. It is across every group chat in the school within 4 minutes. Kai is already in his car, pulling out of the parking lot. Matte black. Engine barely audible. Completely unbothered by the chaos he just left behind. Mr. Yoon is still in the exam hall, standing in front of the board, looking at the proof Kai wrote. He has not erased it. He's just looking at it. And Sarah is sitting on a bench outside, phone in hand, staring at a text from her mom asking when the money situation is going to be resolved. She does not know what to text back, because the answer involves admitting something she has never had to admit before. She does not have a plan anymore. The plan was always Kai. And Kai has left the building. Some people do not get the memo. Kai canceled the allowance, walked away from Damon in front of the whole school, solved a PhD problem on a chalkboard like it was a warm-up exercise. The whole city is talking. The whole school is rearranged. And yet, some people still do not get the memo. Mr. Choi gets the memo today. Mr. Choi is Sarah's father. And in the previous timeline, the one Kai lived through and suffered through and finally got sent back from, Mr. Choi was his driver, personal driver, employed by the Kai family, paid generously, given benefits, given housing assistance, given every comfort a family in that position could reasonably ask for. And how did Mr. Choi use that position, that access, that proximity to one of the wealthiest families in the country? He used it to look down on Kai, quietly, consistently, with the particular arrogance of a man who mistakes access for equality. He would take the jobs, take the salary, take the housing, and then go home and tell his family that the Kai boy was soft, spineless, a rich kid with no backbone who would never amount to anything beyond his family name. He watched Kai get played by his own daughter for 5 years, and he never said a word, because the arrangement was profitable, because a simping Kai was a generous Kai, and generous Kai kept the Choi family very comfortable. But now generous Kai is gone, and Mr. Choi has decided that the correct response to this development is to show up, personally, and demand answers. Kai is in his home office, not a bedroom, an office, because Kai at 18 has a home office with a desk the size of a small car and 3 monitors and a direct line to his family's financial operations team. He is reviewing property portfolios, part of the larger plan, the restructuring of every asset his family owns to make sure nothing can be accessed by anyone without going through him directly. His assistant knocks, says there is a Mr. Choi at the front gate, says he does not have an appointment, says he is being loud about it. Kai does not look up from his screen. He says, "Let him in. Put him in the east sitting room. Do not offer him anything." That last part, "do not offer him anything," is deliberate, because in this house, offering someone tea or water is a gesture of welcome. And Kai is not welcoming Mr. Choi. He is receiving him. There is a difference. One is hospitality. The other is a meeting that has already been decided before it starts. Mr. Choi sits in the east sitting room for 11 minutes. Alone. With nothing to drink. Looking at furniture that costs more than his car. Looking at art on the walls that he cannot appraise but can feel is expensive. Getting progressively more irritated but also progressively more aware of the gap between where he is sitting and where he usually sits. Then Kai walks in. No rush. Sits down across from him. Looks at him the same way he looks at everything lately. Flat. Completely unbothered. Mr. Choi starts talking immediately. The way people talk when they have been waiting, and the waiting made them more aggressive instead of more patient. He says the cancellation was a mistake. He says his family has an understanding with the Kai family going back years. He says Sarah is a good girl who has been treated unfairly. He says Kai is making emotional decisions and needs to think about the bigger picture. He says if the transfers are not reinstated, he will be talking to his lawyers. He says a lot of things. Most of them loud. All of them delivered with the confidence of a man who has never actually had to back up his confidence with anything real. Kai listens. Does not interrupt. Does not react. He lets Mr. Choi finish completely. Lets the last word land and sit in the air. Then he says, "Which apartment are you in?" Mr. Choi blinks. "What?" "Your building. The address." "Which unit?" Mr. Choi gives the address. Confused. Because it is not the response he expected. He expected pushback. Negotiation. Maybe some of that Kai softness he has been exploiting for years. He expected a door to push against. There is no door. Kai just nods. Types something on his phone. Then says, "I will look into it. You can go." Mr. Choi leaves confused. Which is exactly what Kai intended. Because what Kai just did on his phone was not send a nice message. He sent a request to his property management team, asking for the full ownership breakdown of a specific building at a specific address. And then he waited for the answer, which came back in 4 minutes. Full ownership. 100%. No co-investors. No partial stake. The entire building. Purchased by the Kai family 6 years ago as part of a larger real estate acquisition in that district. 12 units. All occupied. All currently managed by a third-party firm under contract with the Kai estate. Unit 7. Occupied by one Mr. Choi. Family of 3. Lease renewed annually. Current lease month to month. No long-term contract in place. Kai reads this information. Sets his phone down. And for the first time all chapter, he almost smiles. Not quite, but almost. The man who just came into his house, sat in his chair, threatened him with lawyers, and spent 5 years watching his daughter drain Kai's finances while treating Kai like a background character. That man lives in Kai's building, has been living in Kai's building, has been paying rent that goes directly into Kai's family's accounts, has been a tenant of the person he spent years looking down on. The universe has a very specific sense of humor. Kai picks up his phone again. This time he is not texting the property management team. He is calling his lawyers. Here is a thing about being genuinely wealthy. Not social media wealthy. Not lifestyle wealthy. Actually generationally embedded in real assets wealthy. You have lawyers on call. Not one lawyer. The team. Different specializations. Real estate. Finance. Corporate. Each one available at any hour because that is what the retainer covers. Kai calls the real estate division. He explains the situation. He asks about the process for immediate eviction on a month-to-month lease with documented lease violations. And there are violations. because Kai's team pulls the file and there are 3 outstanding maintenance damage reports linked to Unit 7. Minor. The kind of thing that gets overlooked when management is not paying close attention. But documented. On file. Legal ground. The senior lawyer on the call says the process can be initiated today. Formal notice delivered in person. Standard legal protocol. Vacate notice effective within the allowable window. Kai says, I want to be there when it is delivered. The lawyer pauses. Professionally. Then says, that is your right as the property owner. Kai says, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. 3 cars pull up outside the building on a Tuesday morning. But the kind of vehicles that do not belong in this neighborhood and everyone on the street knows it the moment they appear. Kai steps out of the middle car. Dressed simply. As always. That particular kind of simple that costs a significant amount. He has a coffee in his hand. The good kind. From the place that does not have a sign outside because they do not need one. For lawyers walk alongside him. Each one carrying a folder or a case or a document wallet. Professional. Composed. The kind of people who are never loud because they have never needed to be loud. They walk into the building. Up to the 2nd floor. Down the hall. Kai sips his coffee. His lawyers do not speak unless spoken to. The whole operation moves like a machine that has been set in motion and will not stop until it reaches the conclusion it was built to reach. Knock on Unit 7. Mr. Choi opens the door in a house robe. He was not expecting company at 8 a.m. His hair is not done. He has a piece of toast in his hand. He looks at the group in the hallway and his brain takes a moment to catch up with what his eyes are seeing. Then he sees Kai. In the back. Coffee in hand. Looking at him with that expression that has no warmth in it but also no anger. Completion. The lead lawyer steps forward. Holds out an envelope. Says, Mr. Choi. I represent the Kai family estate. As the registered owner of this property. My client is initiating formal eviction proceedings against Unit 7 effective immediately based on documented lease violations on file. This notice outlines the legal timeline and your options. You have the right to consult your own legal counsel. Mr. Choi stares at the envelope. Does not take it immediately. His eyes go to Kai. Then back to the lawyer. Then back to Kai. He says, you own this building. Kai takes a sip of his coffee. Says nothing. It does not happen instantly. There is a legal process. There is a timeline. But the process moves fast when you have the right lawyers and the documentation is clean and the owner is present and motivated. By late morning, the Choi family is on the sidewalk. Mrs. Choi is crying. Not quietly. The kind of crying that comes out of someone who has never had to experience a consequence this fast and this public. Sarah is there too, because she got a panicked call from her mother and drove over. She is standing on the pavement in clothes she grabbed quickly. Looking at boxes. Looking at her father. Looking at the building that used to be home. Looking at Kai, who is standing across the street, leaning against his car, coffee still in hand, watching, not with cruelty, not with a big grin or a theatrical look, just watching, the way you watch something you scheduled, a task completing itself. Damon is not here. He did not come when Sarah called, which is a separate piece of information that Sarah is filing away for later. But that is not this chapter's problem. Mr. Choi walks across the street. He is not loud anymore. The toast is gone. The robe has been replaced with real clothes that he pulled on quickly. The aggression from yesterday has been completely deleted. Smoked. Gone. He stands in front of Kai. And his voice is different now. Smaller. He says, we have nowhere to go. Kai looks at him. Sips his coffee. Then he says, you said you had lawyers. Call them. He gets in his car. The door closes. The engine comes on quietly. And he pulls away from the curb without looking back. Clean exit. No drama. No speech. No final burn delivered with a raised voice. He does not need one. The lawyers. The boxes. The crying on the sidewalk. The fact that Mr. Choi just threatened him yesterday and today is standing outside the building he thought was his home asking for mercy. That is the speech. It already happened. Sarah watches the car disappear. Her mom is on the phone behind her. Her dad is talking to one of the lawyers trying to find any angle. Any technicality. Any door that is still open. There is no door. Sarah is doing the calculation again. The same one she started after the exam results. The one that keeps adding new numbers every day. Cancelled allowance. Ignored calls. Public roast of her boyfriend. Perfect exam score. PhD problem on a chalkboard. And now this. Her family just got deleted. Evicted from a building Kai owned. A building they never once thought to ask the ownership of. Because why would you ask? Why would you ever think the boy you spent 5 years treating like a wallet would also happen to own the roof over your head? She pulls out her phone. Looks at the call log. 29 attempts. All ignored. She does not call again. Not because she has given up, but because for the first time, she is starting to understand that calling is not going to work. The game she knows how to play. The one built on smiling and asking and knowing that Kai would come through. That game has been deleted. And she does not yet know how to play a different one. She puts her phone away, looks at her family on the sidewalk surrounded by boxes, and starts thinking about what move comes next. Which means, for the first time in her life, she is the one who has to think. Our boy is not done yet. Not even close. Because while Sarah is on the sidewalk doing math she should have done 5 years ago, Kai is already 3 moves ahead. And move number 5 is about to happen in front of everybody. There is a party tonight. Not a regular party. Not a birthday gathering in someone's living room. This is the Westfield Elite Invitational annual event, hosted by the Lim family who own approximately 1/3 of the commercial real estate in the city. Held at their private estate. Dress code strict. Guest list curated. The kind of event where showing up is already a flex and what you show up in doubles the statement. Every rich kid in the city will be there. Every social player. Every person who thinks their family's net worth gives them a seat at the top of the room. The energy is always competitive. Everyone trying to outdress and outtalk and outpresence everyone else in a building full of people doing the exact same thing. Tonight is going to be different. Because tonight Kai walks in. But nobody knows that yet. Right now the assumption is the same assumption everyone has been carrying since the story started. The assumption that Kai is still that guy. The simp. The wallet with legs. The background character who paid for other people's stories. News travels fast in this school and this city but people update their mental image slowly. And the mental image most of these people have of Kai is still the old one. Head slightly down. Eager to please. Searching for Sarah the moment he enters any room. That image is about to get deleted. Permanently. In front of everyone. The Lim estate gates open at 8. By 8:30 the place is packed. Music running at the right volume. Not too loud to kill conversation. Just loud enough to fill the air. The main hall is enormous. High ceilings. Floor-to-ceiling windows looking out on a lit garden. The kind of space designed to make you feel like you have arrived somewhere important. Sarah is already here. She came early with a group of her usual people. She got herself together after the sidewalk situation. New outfit. Hair done. Game face on. Because Sarah does not collapse in public. Whatever is happening with her family. Whatever restructuring she is going to have to figure out. Tonight she is performing normal. Tonight she is still the queen of this room. She needs tonight to go well. She needs to remind everyone who she is. What she looks like when she walks into a space. She needs the room to respond to her the way it always has. She is standing near the center of the hall with a drink in her hand doing exactly that. Working the room. Getting the reactions she needs. Laughing at the right moments. Making eye contact with the right people. Damon is somewhere else in the building. They have not talked properly since the hallway incident. Since Kai walked around him like furniture and the whole school saw it. Damon has been in a specific kind of bad mood that he is covering with louder behavior and Sarah is giving him space because dealing with Damon's ego right now is not on her priority list. The party is going well. Normal. Controlled. Sarah's territory. And then the doors open. Here is the thing about an entrance. A real one. Not a try-hard entrance. Not someone who walks in looking around to see if people are looking. A real entrance is when someone walks in and the room just knows. Without announcement. Without effort. The energy shifts and everyone feels it before they process why. Kai walks through those doors and the room shifts. But it is not just Kai. Because walking next to him, hand light on his arm, is Mia Seo. Mia Seo who is not a Westfield student. Mia Seo who goes to Elston Academy across the city. Mia Seo who has been on the cover of 2 youth lifestyle magazines this year. Mia Seo whose family runs a tech empire that has been on the news every other week. Mia Seo who is widely considered the most socially powerful girl in the entire city in their age group. Not just the school. The city. She is here. At a Westfield party. Walking in next to Kai. Looking like she chose to be exactly where she is. Not like she was invited or brought or asked. Like she decided. And Kai happened to be the person she decided with. The room does not go quiet. It gets louder for a moment in that specific way that happens when 50 conversations all update at the same time and everyone is suddenly talking about the same thing. Who is that with Kai? Wait, that is Mia Seo. Why is Mia Seo here? Why is she with Kai? Is that really Kai? He looks different. Kai does not scan the room. He does not check to see who is watching or where Sarah is standing or how Damon is reacting. He walks in like he has been to better parties than this and is here tonight as a courtesy. Mia is next to him and they are talking about something. Quietly. Like the room full of shocked people is ambient noise and not their concern. They move through the crowd. And the crowd parts. Not because anyone consciously decides to move, but because the combination of Kai's energy and Mia's presence creates a lane and everyone in that lane steps to the side without thinking about it. Someone near the drinks table says, "When did Kai and Mia Seo know each other?" Someone else says, "Did you see what he pulled up in?" A third person says, I heard something about the exam scores today. And this is the dopamine loop of being Kai right now. Every piece of information people have about him from the last 5 days is hitting people at once. The exam, the hallway, the eviction story that has been quietly spreading through certain circles. And now this. Walking into the biggest social event of the season with the most prominent girl in the city on his arm. The old image is not just fading. It is being smoked, demolished, replaced in real time. Lim Jun, the host, son of the family whose estate this is, comes over immediately. Because Lim Jun is smart enough to know that when someone like Mia Seo shows up at your party you go say hello. And you do it fast before someone else does. He greets them both. All energy. Big smile. Tells Mia he is glad she came. Tells Kai. And here there is a slight pause because Lim Jun is recalibrating in real time. He says, Kai, good to see you man. Did not know you were coming. Kai says, last minute decision. Lim Jun laughs. A little too easily. The laugh of someone trying to match an energy they are still measuring. He says, oh, Mikasa, you know how it is. Kai looks at him, then looks around the room slowly, then back at Lim Jun, and he says, casually, the way you say something that is not meant to land as a flex but lands as one anyway. How much did the renovation cost? I have been thinking about doing something similar with one of my properties. One of my properties, not my house, not my family's house. One of my properties, plural, casual, like this is a minor item on a longer list. Lim Jun blinks. The renovation, to us, significant. Maybe we can talk about it later. Kai nods, already moving on. Because he said what he said and the people close enough to hear it heard it, and that is enough. Now here is the moment everyone has been waiting for. The financial flex. Because this is a room full of rich kids. And rich kids talk about money the way other people talk about weather. Constantly. Indirectly. Through references and purchases and stories that are really just balance sheet comparisons with social lubricant poured over them. Someone in the room starts it. A guy named Park something. Son of a banking family. Known for being loud about his portfolio in the way people are loud when they need others to confirm something they are not quite confident about themselves. Park is holding court near the center of the room. He is talking about a recent investment his father made. Numbers getting larger with each sentence. The group around him is nodding. Doing the performance of being impressed. It is a familiar routine at these events. Kai stops nearby. Not interrupting. But present. Close enough. Park notices him. And does the thing that happens when someone needs a new audience member. He pulls Kai into the conversation. He says, Kai, you know about the Meridian property development. Your family has some stake in that, right? Kai says, we own it. Park says, right, yeah, partial stake. Kai says, full ownership. We bought out the remaining investors in March. Small pause. Park recalibrates, pivots to something else. Starts talking about the downtown commercial district. His family's involvement. The numbers climbing again. Kai listens, then says, which blocks specifically? Park names them. Kai nods slowly, then says, we own the adjacent 3. And the 2 retail units your family leases on Crane Street. Those are in our portfolio. The group around Park goes very quiet. Because the math is happening in real time. Because what Kai just said means that Park's family, who everyone in this room treats as significant, is paying rent to Kai's family. Is a tenant in the larger story of what the Kai estate actually controls. Park does not have a follow-up. Mia next to Kai takes a small sip of her drink and says nothing because she already knew all of this and finds the reaction of the room mildly entertaining. Someone in the circle quietly gets out their phone, types something, reads the result, shows the person next to them. The number on that screen, the estimated value of the Kai family holdings, is larger than the combined net worth of every family represented in this room tonight. Not slightly larger. Significantly larger. The Simp era is not just dead. It has been buried, cremated, and the ashes have been scattered somewhere these people will never find them. Sarah sees it happen from across the room. She has been watching since Kai walked in. She could not help it. The moment those doors opened and the room shifted, she felt it before she saw it. She has been watching him move through the space. The way people react. The way Mia stays close. The way Lim Jun laughed too easily. The way the Park conversation ended. She cannot hear the words, but she can read the body language from here, and the body language is saying the same thing it has been saying for 5 days. Everything is different now. She makes a decision. She is going to talk to him. Not to ask for anything. Not to beg. Just to talk. To be seen talking to him. To re-establish some kind of visible connection in front of this room that demonstrates she still has access. That she and Kai still have something. Some thread. Some history that counts. Because if Kai is becoming this, if Kai is the person this room is suddenly rearranging itself around, Then being the girl he used to love has to have value. She crosses the room. Her walk is perfect. Practiced. She times it for when he is slightly separated from Mia, who has drifted a few steps to speak with someone else. She gets in front of him. Smiles. The full one. The one that has worked on him his entire life. She says, "Kai, you look good tonight." Kai walks past her. Not around her. Not with a head turn and a cold response. He does not look at her. Does not slow his step. Does not acknowledge in any visible way that she is standing in front of him. He simply continues in the direction he was going as if the space she is occupying is empty. Sarah is standing in the middle of the party. In an outfit she planned. With a smile still on her face. That nobody is receiving. Because the person it was aimed at has already moved 4 steps past her and is not coming back. The people close enough to see it. And they look away quickly. Because witnessing that is uncomfortable. Because everyone in this room knows the history. 5 years of Kai orbiting Sarah. 5 years of him being the most available person in her life. And now she is standing there invisible. The crowd does not laugh. It is too real for that. But the story updates again. In real time. In every phone and every group chat and every conversation happening in corners of this party. The simp is gone. And the girl who benefited from the simp is standing in the middle of the room with a smile aimed at nothing. Kai is already somewhere else. Laughing at something Mia said. A real laugh. The laugh of a person who is exactly where they chose to be. Level up complete. The sky breaks on a Wednesday. Not dramatically. Not with thunder or lightning or any of the cinematic buildup you would expect from the end of the normal world. Just like someone took reality and put too much pressure on it and it split along a line nobody knew was there. 7:42 a.m. Students are arriving at Westfield. Cars in the lot. People at lockers. The usual morning routine running exactly as it always does. And then the sky above the city goes from blue to something else. A color that does not have a name yet. Something between silver and static. Like a television channel that does not exist anymore. And then the system announces itself. Not through phones. Not through speakers. Directly. Into every person's head simultaneously. A voice that is not a voice. A notification that is not a sound. Just information that arrives in the mind like it was always there and just became readable. Global system initialization complete. All players registered. First portal event in 72 hours. Prepare accordingly. Then a screen. Visible only to each individual. Floating in the air in front of them like a heads-up display. Stats. A player profile. A ranking. And a link to something called the system shop. The school loses its mind immediately. People are screaming. Someone faints near the main entrance. A group of juniors barricades themselves in a classroom within 4 minutes of the announcement. Teachers are calling the front office. The front office is calling the district. The district is calling people who are calling other people and nobody has any answers because this happened to everyone everywhere at the exact same time and there is no authority on earth that was prepared for it. Portals are appearing in the city. Visible through the windows. Dark circular tears in the air hovering above specific locations. Not moving. Waiting. The kind of waiting that feels intentional. The whole world just became a game. And nobody asked if they wanted to play. Nobody except the one person who opens his system screen. Reads every line. Closes it. And says to nobody in particular. Interesting. That person is Kai. Obviously. He is standing in the hallway while chaos runs in every direction around him. Someone bumps into him running the other way. He does not move. He is reading his stats with the focused expression of someone reviewing a financial document. Processing. Already calculating. His stats come up and they are not normal. His base attributes are significantly higher than the average readings being displayed on public ranking boards that the system has already posted in visible floating panels around the school. Strength. Intelligence. Perception. His numbers sit in ranges that other students will not reach without weeks of grinding. Because of the training. The 5 a.m. sessions. The years of physical discipline he built quietly while everyone assumed he was just carrying bags. The body he built while performing softness. All of it is being read and translated by the system into numbers. And the numbers are telling a story that nobody in this school knew was true. He checks the ranking board. His name is sitting in the top percentile globally. Not just school. Not just city. Globally. Out of every registered player on Earth who just got pulled into this system. Kai is already in a bracket that most people will spend months trying to reach. He closes the ranking screen. Opens the system shop. And here is where it gets interesting. The shop is enormous. Hundreds of items. Weapons. Armor. Consumables. Skill books. Enhancement materials. The kind of inventory that would take hours to browse properly. And the whole school is either too panicked to open their shops at all or opening them and immediately gravitating to the same obvious items. The S-rank weapon sitting at the top of the list. The legendary armor set that every player ranking announcement in the system is highlighting. The flashy items. The ones with the biggest numbers displayed most visibly. The things that look powerful because they are designed to look powerful. Kai scrolls past all of it. He goes to the bottom. The trash tier. The items rated F and E that come with automated system descriptions like low utility and not recommended for combat and novelty item only. The things that cost almost nothing because nobody wants them. Because they look useless. Because on the surface they are useless. Kai spent his regression learning everything the previous timeline never taught him. He had 5 years of memory from a future that already happened. And in that future he watched other players discover things too late. Watched people chase the obvious power and miss the structural advantages sitting in plain sight. Watched the early leaders burn through resources on flashy gear while the real game played out in the margins. He knows what these trash items actually do. He knows which F-rank consumables combine into something that cannot be purchased directly. He knows which E-rank material is the base component for an endgame enhancement that nobody will figure out for months. He knows because he lived through the version of this game where people found out too late. Where the players who read everything carefully in the first 72 hours ended up holding the architecture of the whole competition. He is not going to live through that version again. He starts buying. His system currency balance is already high. Higher than almost every other player because his base stats converted into a starting currency bonus that puts him in a different bracket from the jump. And he is spending it methodically. Not emotionally. Not on the things that feel good to buy. On the things that are invisible to everyone else right now. 47 F-rank items. 19 E-rank materials. 6 items listed as decorative with 0 combat rating that Kai knows are actually passive enhancement triggers once equipped in a specific combination. 3 consumables that the system describes as low effect duration that Kai knows stack with each other in a way the system description does not mention. He empties entire sections of the trash tier. Items that have been sitting untouched because every other player either has not opened their shop yet or opened it and scrolled straight to the top. He spends the equivalent of what a mid-ranked player would consider their entire starting budget. He spends it on things that look like garbage. And he does it with the energy of someone at a market who knows which vendor is underpricing something extraordinary. His bag fills. The system registers the items. A few of them immediately trigger a faint glow that the system does not explain. Which Kai expected. Because combination bonuses do not get announced. They just activate when the conditions are met. And the conditions are now met. His base stats tick upward. Slightly. In ways that are not dramatic. In ways that would not even register to someone glancing at a ranking board. But they are real. And they will compound. He closes the shop. Checks his inventory. Reads the portal announcement again. First portal event in 72 hours. Kai looks at the time. Reads the distance estimate the system provides for the nearest portal location. Then he looks out the window at the dark circle hanging in the air above the Eastern District. 72 hours is the official countdown. The window the system gave everyone to prepare. To train. To buy equipment. To form parties. To do all the things that organized players are supposed to do before entering a portal for the first time. Kai closes the countdown window. He is not waiting 72 hours. Because in the future he remembers. The players who entered portals first. Before the crowds. Before the strategies got shared online. Before the meta developed and everyone started running the same builds and the same approaches. Those players found things that later players never found. Loot tables that reset. Boss variations that disappeared once a portal had been cleared a certain number of times. Skill drops that were only available in first entry conditions. The early advantage is real. And it expires fast. He heads for the exit. The hallway is still chaos. People are in groups. Arguing. Some crying. Some on phones. Some staring at their system screens with expressions ranging from terror to manic excitement. A few people have already started trying to figure out how to exit the system, which is not a feature that exists. There is no opt-out. Everyone is in. Damon is in the middle of a group near the main hall. His stats are on the higher end for the school. Football body translating into decent strength numbers. He has already found a weapon in the shop and is showing it to people around him with the energy of someone who thinks this situation was designed for exactly him. But confident. Already declaring himself a natural at this. He sees Kai walking toward the exit and calls out. Where are you going? Portal is not for 3 days, man. Kai does not stop walking. Does not turn. Just keeps moving toward the door. Damon says louder. Bro, you do not even have gear. What are you going to do? The doors close behind Kai. Damon turns back to his group. Makes a comment. They laugh. Because the idea of Kai walking toward a portal alone with no party and no visible gear is genuinely funny to anyone working with the information they currently have. They do not have all the information. Sarah watches him leave from across the hall. She has been watching him since the system appeared. since his name showed up in that top percentile bracket on the public board. Since the ranking numbers settled and she did the comparison and realized that Kai's starting position in this game is as far above everyone else here as his family's finances are above everyone else in the city. She is smart enough to understand what that means. She has been doing the calculation since the party, since the exam, since the sidewalk. The calculation that keeps arriving at the same answer. That everything she dismissed about Kai was real. Everything she took for granted was valuable. And she spent 5 years treating a top percentile player like a background character because he let her. She watches him walk out the door, alone, heading toward a portal that nobody else is going near for 3 days. She thinks about calling out, does not, because she already knows what happens when she calls. Nothing. He keeps walking. The door closes, and she is standing in a hallway holding a phone that is not going to ring back. The sky outside is still that nameless color. Portals hanging in the air above the city like dark question marks. Everyone inside this building is scared or excited or both. Kai is outside, moving, already playing a game that everyone else thinks has not started yet. He reaches the portal location, an empty lot in the Eastern District. The dark circle hanging in the air is larger up close, wider than a doorway. The air around it has a specific pressure, the kind that tells the body something significant is on the other side. His system screen pings. A warning. Solo entry detected. Recommended party size 3 to 5 players. Proceed alone at significant risk. Kai reads it, taps confirm. Entry confirmed. Good luck, player. He steps through. The portal closes behind him. The lot is empty. The city noise comes back immediately. Like nothing happened. Like someone did not just walk alone into the first active portal in the history of a game that the entire world just got enrolled in. 72 hours later, when the official countdown hits 0 and thousands of players across the city rush their nearest portals with full parties and carefully selected gear, they are going to find that certain loot tables have already been cleared. Certain first entry bonuses are already gone. Certain boss variants that only appear before the portal registers its first completion have already been defeated. And in the global ranking board that the system updates in real time, one name is already sitting at the top. The portal inside looks nothing like the outside. Outside it was a dark circle hanging in the air above an empty lot. Quiet, ominous. The kind of thing that makes people stop walking and take photos from a safe distance. Inside it is a dungeon. Stone floors. Low ceiling. Torches that the system generated because apparently whoever designed this game understands atmosphere. Long corridors branching in multiple directions. The kind of layout that is designed to make first-time players slow down. Check corners. Move carefully. Use up time and resources before they even find the first enemy. Kai does not slow down. He checks his map. The system provides a basic layout on entry. Fog of war over unexplored sections. But Kai knows something that first-time players do not know. The boss room in a first-tier portal is always in the same position relative to the entry point. Not the same path. The path changes. But the position of the boss room on the grid is fixed. It is a system design choice that nobody figures out until much later in the timeline Kai came from. He knows it now. He draws a straight line mentally from entry to boss position, identifies the fastest route that intersects with that endpoint, and starts moving. Not running. Moving with the specific efficient pace of someone who knows exactly how far they need to go and has calculated the energy cost of every speed option. Fast enough to cover ground. Controlled enough to not trigger stamina drain. The first enemies are basic. Gray wolves the size of large dogs. Red eyes. System-generated aggression that makes them charge anything that enters their radius. They are designed to slow players down, to force engagement, to drain health and resources before the main event. Kai does not engage. He times the patrol patterns. 3 seconds of observation and the rhythm is clear. He moves through the gaps. No contact. The wolves do not even register a proximity alert because his perception stat is high enough that he reads their detection range before entering it. He ghosts the entire first section in under 2 minutes. The second section has traps. Pressure plates in the floor. Tripwires at knee height. The kind of hazards that wreck unprepared players and send them back to the entry point with half their health gone. Kai can see them. Not because of any special vision skill. Because his perception stat is reading micro-variations in the floor texture and the system is helpfully highlighting hazard zones in a faint yellow that low perception players literally cannot see. He steps over every single one. Precise. Like he has a map that nobody else has access to. Which is essentially true. Third section. Longer corridor. More wolves. A mini-boss stationed at the junction. A larger wolf. Alpha variant. The system rates it as a required engagement. There is no path around it. The corridor is the only route and the alpha is standing directly in the center of it. Kai reaches into his inventory, pulls out one of the F-rank consumables he bought from the trash tier of the shop. The system description on it said low effect duration. Minor stealth enhancement. Not recommended for combat. What the description does not say. Because system descriptions only cover individual item effects and not combination effects, is that this consumable stacked with 2 of the other F-rank items currently in Kai's equipped slots creates a stealth window that registers as 0 threat level to system-generated enemies. He activates it. His character outline blurs slightly. The Alpha Wolf's head does not turn. Its aggression indicator does not spike. He walks past it at normal pace. Directly past it. Close enough to reach out and touch. It does not react. He is through the 3rd section before the stealth window closes. Now here is where it gets interesting. Because Kai is not the only person in this portal. He finds out when he rounds the corner into a wide chamber 2 sections from the boss room. And he finds 4 people in full combat against a giant rat. Not a small rat. Not a pest. A system-generated monster rat. The size of a small car. Armored plating across its back and shoulders. Red eyes the size of fists. Teeth that are doing significant damage to the stone floor every time it snaps at the people dodging around it. These 4 people are a pro team. Or they are presenting as one. Matching gear. Coordinated positioning. They clearly came prepared with a strategy. One person is tanking. Drawing aggression. Taking hits on a shield that is cracking faster than they probably planned for. 2 are attacking from the sides. Weapons hitting but not hitting hard enough. The 4th is in the back running what looks like a support role. Trying to keep everyone alive with healing items that are depleting faster than the rat's health bar. They are not losing, but they are not winning cleanly either. This fight has been going on for a while. The tank's shield is at maybe 30% durability. The 2 side attackers are burning stamina. The support is almost out of healing items. And they are stuck on a regular corridor rat. Not even the boss. Kai registers all of this in approximately 4 seconds. Then he looks at the rat. Then at the corridor that continues past the chamber to the section beyond. The boss room is through there. He starts walking. Through the chamber. Toward the far corridor. The pro team notices him. Obviously. A person just walked into their active combat zone like he is taking a shortcut through someone's living room. The tank shouts. Something about the danger. Something about getting back. The rat is swinging and the chamber is active and this person just strolled in with no party and is walking toward the far exit like the combat happening 6 feet away is a minor inconvenience. Kai passes the rat. Times the swing. Steps under the arc of the tail. Does not break stride. The pro team is watching him with their mouths open. The rat takes a swing at him. His perception stat flags it before it arrives. He sidesteps. Efficient. No wasted movement. The hit misses by the exact minimum distance required and not an inch more. He reaches the far corridor entrance. Glances back once. Not at the team. At the rat. Reading something. Then he reaches into his inventory. Pulls out the weapon. Now here is the thing about the weapon. It looks like a stick. That is not a simplification. It is literally categorized in the system as basic wooden rod. The tooltip says equipment rating minimal. Combat effectiveness low. Not recommended as primary weapon. The pro team sees it. One of the side attackers actually stops attacking the rat for a moment because they cannot process what they are looking at. This person walked through an active combat zone and pulled out a stick. What the pro team does not know, what nobody but Kai knows right now, is that the basic wooden rod combined with 3 specific F-rank enhancement materials that are currently in Kai's inventory and have been passively applying their combination bonus since he bought them, creates a hidden stat that the system does not display on the item tooltip. The combination bonus is called Core Resonance. It does not appear in any system guide because no guide exists yet. It will not be discovered publicly for another 4 months in the original timeline. It multiplies the base damage output of any weapon it is applied to by the wielder's intelligence stat. Kai's intelligence stat is in the top percentile globally. He applies the final enhancement material. The stick does not change visually. No glow. No dramatic transformation. It looks exactly like what it is. A piece of wood. He walks back into the chamber. The rat is still fighting the pro team. Still winning the attrition battle. The tank is on one knee. The support is completely out of healing items. Kai lines up. Reads the rat's movement pattern. Identifies the one location on the armored back where the plating has a gap. A seam between 2 sections. The system does not highlight this. His perception stat does. He swings once. The sound is wrong. Not the clunk of wood hitting armor. Something else. A crack that travels through the entire chamber and bounces off the stone walls. The kind of sound that does not match the weapon that made it. The rat's health bar goes from 60% to 0 in a single frame. It drops. The whole body. Like a building with the foundation cut out. Straight down. The floor shakes when it lands. Dust comes up from the impact. Silence. The pro team is frozen. For people in various stages of combat posture. Weapons raised. Shields up. Healing items half consumed. All of them staring at the rat on the floor and then at the person standing over it with a stick. Kai is already looking at his screen, because the loot notification is going off. Monster defeated. Loot available. First strike bonus active. Solo kill bonus active. Full loot allocation to single player. He taps collect. Everything. All of it. Every material the rat drops. Every currency. The rare crafting component that only appears on this enemy at a 3% drop rate. The skill fragment that the system generated as a bonus for first strike conditions. All of it goes directly into Kai's inventory. The pro team watches their loot notification appear, and then disappear, because loot goes to the player who registers the kill. And Kai registered it, cleanly, with one hit, while they were the ones who spent the last 8 minutes wearing it down. One of the side attackers says something. The kind of thing people say when they have just been absolutely smoked by a situation they did not anticipate. But, directed at Kai. Kai is already walking toward the far corridor. He does not turn around. Does not acknowledge. Does not break stride. He hears them behind him, getting louder, moving to follow. He checks his map. Boss room is close. One more section. He moves faster. The boss room is a large circular chamber. High ceiling. The boss is waiting in the center because the system always positions bosses in the center. This one is called the Stone Sentinel, a humanoid creature made of compressed rock and system-generated mineral matter. 12 feet tall. Arms like pillars. A health bar above its head that is significantly longer than anything Kai has encountered so far in this run. The system rates it as requiring a party of 4 to 5 players at recommended gear level. The difficulty warning that appeared on Kai's screen when he entered the chamber is the highest he has seen so far. He reads it, dismisses it. He runs the same calculation he ran on the rat. Except the Stone Sentinel is bigger and the gap analysis takes longer. 15 seconds of observation. Watching it move. Watching the system-generated patrol pattern. Identifying the joint structures. Finding the location where the mineral plating does not connect seamlessly. The weak point that exists in every system-generated enemy regardless of difficulty rating. Because every system-generated enemy has one. This is not a secret that gets discovered in the original timeline for 6 months. Kai has known since he read the developer notes that leaked in year 2 of the game. He finds it. Left shoulder. Slightly below the pauldron. Where 2 stone layers overlap at an angle that creates a gap approximately the width of a palm. He needs height. He checks his inventory. Pulls out one of the items the pro team watched him buy and almost certainly wrote off as junk. A small F-rank object listed as basic boost pad. Novelty item. Single use. Minor vertical launch. Minor vertical launch is relative. Minor compared to the S-rank mobility items that serious players will be buying later. But right now, with Kai's strength stat multiplying the launch force, minor becomes exactly enough. He places it, steps on it, gets launched. For about 1.5 seconds he is airborne, directly level with that left shoulder gap. He swings. Same sound as before. That wrong sound, the one that does not match the weapon. The crack that travels through the chamber and shakes the ceiling. The Stone Sentinel's health bar goes from full to 0. It falls. Slower than the rat. More weight. The chamber floor cracks when it lands. The impact sends a vibration that Kai feels through his boots from the air before he lands. He lands clean. Rolls once. Comes up standing. Boss defeated. First clear bonus active. Solo clear bonus active. Speed clear bonus active. All bonuses applied. The loot explosion is significant. Items pouring out of the Sentinel like someone knocked over a warehouse. Rare materials. High-grade enhancement components. Currency in amounts that would represent weeks of grinding for regular players. A skill book that the system flags as rare drop with a red border. And then the level notification starts going off. Level up. 10 consecutive level notifications in approximately 5 seconds. Because of the stacked bonuses. First clear. Solo clear. Speed clear. Boss kill. All of them multiplying the base experience and hitting at the same time. His stats jump. Visibly. The numbers climbing in real time on his screen. Moving from already high into a bracket that most players will not see for weeks. He collects everything. Every item. Reads the skill book. Absorbs it. The skill registers instantly. He checks the global ranking board. His position has moved. Still number 1. But the gap between him and number 2 has just become significantly larger. He turns around. The pro team is standing at the entrance of the boss room. They got here in time to watch the last part. The launch. The swing. The fall. The level notifications going off like a slot machine hitting every combination at once. They are looking at him with the specific expression of people who thought they understood the situation and have just realized they understood nothing. Kai walks toward the exit portal. Past them. Not looking at their faces. Not acknowledging the questions that one of them is starting to ask. He has cleared the first portal in the city. Probably in the country. Possibly globally given the speed of the run. He has 10 levels on everyone. A skill that will not be available to other players for months. Loot that will compound into advantages that will still be paying out when everyone else is just figuring out how to beat floor 2. He steps through the exit portal. Back into the empty lot. Back into the city where the sky is still that nameless color and dark circles still hang over various districts and the official countdown still has 69 hours left on it. He checks his inventory one more time. Reads the numbers. Closes the screen. Then he goes to get lunch. Because it is barely past noon and he skipped breakfast. The pro team comes through the portal behind him 2 minutes later. They stand in the lot. Looking at each other. Looking at where he went. Looking at their own stats and then at the ranking board where his name sits at the top with a score that should not be possible yet. One of them says, "Who is that guy?" The ranking board updates every 6 hours. And every 6 hours for the past 2 days. The same name has been sitting at the top of it. Level 31. Solo cleared 3 portals. 0 party members. 0 deaths. A score that the next closest player is not even halfway to matching. The city is talking about it. The system forums that appeared overnight are full of threads trying to figure out who the top-ranked player is. Speculation everywhere. Some people think it is a professional gamer who got lucky with stats. Some think it is an adult. Someone with military training. Someone with prior knowledge of how these systems work. Nobody is guessing that it is an 18-year-old who pulled up to school in a limited edition supercar 4 days before the world changed. Nobody except the people who go to Westfield. Who have been watching Kai for the past week. Who have been updating their mental image of him in real time as each new piece of information arrives and the old picture becomes more impossible to defend. Sarah has been watching the ranking board specifically. Every update. Every 6 hours. She is not sleeping well. Not because of the monsters or the portals or the general collapse of normal life as everyone knew it, but because of the math. The math that keeps arriving at the same answer no matter how many times she runs it. Kai is the most valuable person in the city right now. Possibly the country. The system does not care about social hierarchies or school popularity or who drove whose boyfriend's car. The system reads stats. And Kai's stats are saying something that cannot be argued with or smiled away or managed through the usual tools. She needs to get into his party. That is the calculation. Simple. Get into his party. Get the carry. Get the levels and loot and safety that come with being adjacent to the number 1 ranked player in the region. Rebuild from there. Because right now Sarah's own stats are average. Her starting attributes were middle of the pack. She has done 2 portal runs with a group from school and both times they barely cleared and came out with minimal loot and everyone bruised. She needs Kai. In a different way than before. But still. She needs him. She finds him the next morning. He is near the Eastern District. The area that has become an informal staging ground for players preparing to enter portals. People gathering in groups. Comparing gear. Forming parties. The whole ecosystem of a game that nobody asked to be in but everyone is now trying to survive. Kai is alone. Obviously. He is checking his system screen with the focused expression of someone reviewing a schedule. He has a bag over one shoulder. The gear inside it is not visible but the weight distribution tells someone who knows how to read body language that there is more in there than it appears. Sarah approaches. She has prepared for this. She knows the direct ask does not work. She knows the smile does not work. She has been recalibrating her entire approach based on the last week of failed attempts. So she goes with something she has never genuinely tried before. She apologizes. She says, "Kai, I know I do not deserve to ask you for anything. What I did, for 5 years, was wrong. I used you. I know that. And I am sorry." Kai looks at her, reads her face the way he reads enemy patterns. Checking for tells. Checking for the specific micro-expressions that appear when someone is performing sincerity versus actually experiencing it. What he sees is a person who has done the calculation, who arrived at apology as the optimal opening move, who is delivering it with enough genuine discomfort to make it feel real because she is actually uncomfortable. But the discomfort is not about guilt. It is about her current stats and her current situation and the gap between where she is and where she needs to be. He knows this because he knows her. 5 years of full attention to one person builds a read that does not disappear just because the feeling did. He does not respond to the apology. He says, "What do you want?" She says she wants to join his party. Temporary. Just for one portal run. She is not asking for anything permanent. Just one run to get her levels up so she can handle herself going forward. Kai looks at his system screen. Then back at her. Then at the portal location to the east. He says, "Fine." Sarah blinks. Because she prepared for more resistance. She prepared for cold dismissal. She prepared for the invisible treatment. She did not prepare for yes. Kai is already walking toward the portal. Keep up. Here is what Sarah thinks is happening. She thinks the apology worked. She thinks some part of Kai responded to it. Some remnant of those 5 years. Some leftover warmth that she can leverage back into the useful dynamic she lost. She thinks she is getting a free carry. Levels. Safety. All the things that come with being in the party of the number 1 ranked player. Here is what is actually happening. Kai identified a portal 2 days ago that has a specific enemy type in the second section. Allure Beast. A system-generated predator that targets the player with the lowest combat stat in any nearby group and builds aggression specifically toward that player before charging. It is a threat assessment mechanic. The Lure Beast finds the weakest person and goes for them first. The Lure Beast has been sitting in that portal section for 2 days because Kai did not need to engage it. He went around it. The corridor bypass exists and his stats made the bypass clean and simple. But the Lure Beast is sitting on top of a loot chest that Kai wants. A chest that cannot be accessed without clearing the Lure Beast first because the system placed it in the center of the beast's aggression radius. Any player who enters that radius triggers the fight. Kai's combat stat is so far above the Lure Beast's threat assessment threshold that the beast will not lock onto him as the primary target. It needs a lower stat player to fixate on. Sarah's combat stat is perfectly below the threshold. She is not a party member. She is a mechanic. The portal interior is familiar to Kai. He moves through the first section at his standard pace. Sarah keeps up. Barely. He is not slowing down for her, but he is also not running. She is working hard to stay close, and she is not complaining about it because she does not want to give him a reason to reconsider. She is watching him move. The efficiency of it. No wasted steps. No hesitation at junctions. He moves through this dungeon like he has been here before. Like the map is already in his head and the physical space is just confirmation of something he already knew. She thinks about the exam, the chalkboard, the party, the ranking board, and she is doing a different kind of calculation now. Not just the utility calculation. Something more uncomfortable. The kind of recalculation that involves admitting how wrong the original assessment was. Not just wrong. Completely inverted. Everything she dismissed was real. Everything she overlooked was the actual story. She pushes the thought away. Focus on the portal. Focus on the run. Second section. Kai slows slightly. He is reading the space. Sarah reads this as caution and mirrors it. She does not know what is in this section. Her portal experience is limited and this dungeon layout is unfamiliar. Kai points toward a side passage. Tells her to go ahead and check if it is clear. His voice is the same voice he uses for everything. Flat. Informational. No warmth but no hostility either. Sarah goes. Because he said to. Because she is trying to be useful. Because the old instinct of doing what Kai suggests is apparently still functional even in a context where the power dynamic has completely reversed. She enters the main chamber. The Lure Beast is there. She sees it immediately. It is large. Quadrupedal. Somewhere between a wolf and something that does not exist in the natural world. Long limbs. Low body. Eyes that move independently and scan the room in different directions. Those eyes find her. Both of them swing to her simultaneously. The threat assessment is instant. The beast locks on. Its aggression indicator goes from yellow to red in one frame. Sarah says. Very quickly. Kai. Kai steps into the chamber behind her. The beast reads him. His combat stat registers. His threat level is above threshold. The beast's primary aggression stays on Sarah because she is the valid low stat target and the system's mechanic does not allow target switching once locked unless the primary target is eliminated or exits the radius. Kai moves to the left, toward the chest at the back of the chamber. The beast tracks Sarah as she starts backing toward the entry. She is pulling the aggression radius exactly where Kai needs it. Away from the chest. Away from the left side of the chamber. Sarah is not stupid. She is realizing something is wrong with this positioning. She is realizing she does not fully understand what her role in this situation is. She says his name again. Louder. Kai reaches the chest. Opens it. The loot inside is exactly what he calculated. 2 enhancement materials he needed. A skill fragment. Currency. He collects everything in 3 seconds. Then he turns around. Reads the beast's position. Reads Sarah's position. She has backed herself into the right wall and the beast is 2 meters from her and closing and her hands are on a weapon she does not know how well she can use against something this size. Kai crosses the chamber in 4 steps. The beast hears him coming and the threat assessment flickers. His stat is too high to ignore completely. The beast half turns. Kai hits it once. Left flank. The same stick. The same wrong sound. The beast drops before it finishes the turn. Loot registers. Solo kill bonus. He collects it. Sarah is against the wall. Breathing fast. She looks at the beast on the floor. Then at Kai. Then at the chest on the other side of the chamber that is now open and empty. She says, "You used me." Kai looks at her. Completely level. The beast needed a low stat target to lock onto. You were available. The flatness of it. The complete absence of cruelty but also absence of apology. Factual. Like explaining a game mechanic to someone who asked. Sarah says, "You could have told me." Kai says, "You would not have gone in." She cannot argue with this. Because it is true. And they both know it is true. And the knowing of it is somehow worse than if he had said something cold. Because cold would have been emotional. This is just logic. He walks toward the corridor that continues to the next section. Does not look back. Sarah stays against the wall for a moment. Then says, "What about the rest of the portal? Are you going to leave me here?" Kai stops. Turns just enough to be audible. He says, "The exit is back through section 1. Your stats are enough to avoid the patrol pattern if you stay left. Do not step on the 3rd floor plate from the entrance. It is still armed." Information. Accurate. Useful. Delivered without emotion. He turns back and keeps walking. Sarah slides down the wall slightly. Sits on the floor of the dungeon chamber with a dead lure beast 3 meters away and a Kai-shaped absence in the corridor ahead of her. She is not going to cry. She decides this immediately. Not here. Not in a portal dungeon over a situation she walked into with open eyes. She thinks about the apology she gave. The one she delivered this morning outside the portal with real discomfort. The one that was strategic but also, if she is being honest, if she is doing the full calculation, also true. She does actually understand what she did. She does actually know it was wrong. But knowing something was wrong and being sorry about it are 2 different ledger entries. And Kai can read the difference. She gets up. Checks her system screen. Checks the map. Finds the exit route. She walks back through section 1. Stays left. Does not step on the 3rd plate. The exit portal takes her back to the empty lot. Kai is not there. He is already somewhere else. Running his own route through section 3 and 4. Alone. Efficient. Adding to a score that nobody else in the city is close to. She looks at the ranking board on her system screen. His name at the top. The number next to it climbing again as she watches. She thinks about the word he did not say. Sorry. The one she gave him this morning and that he received and processed and filed exactly where it belonged without letting it change a single calculation. She thinks about how that feels. Being on the receiving end of that. Having something real taken in and stored and used as data rather than felt. Thinks, for the first time, about whether this is what she felt like to him for 5 years. Whether this is what it is like to be the person in a dynamic who cares more. Who tries more. Who keeps showing up and keeps getting processed instead of received. The thought is uncomfortable enough that she puts it away quickly. She opens her system screen. Checks her own stats. Starts calculating what she needs to do to close the gap. On her own. Without a carry. Without a backup plan that has someone else's name on it. Because the backup plan with Kai's name on it just left her in a dungeon with a lure beast and walked away saying she is not worth the mana. And the worst part. The absolute most clarifying part of this whole situation. He's right. Not about her value as a person. But about the calculation. About what she brings to a party at her current level versus what she costs. The math is honest even when it hurts. She is not worth the mana right now. So she needs to become worth it. Not for him. The window for that is closed and she knows it. But for herself. Because the system does not care about her smile or her social position or the 5 years of leverage she thought she had. The system reads stats. Time to build some. Our boy is back outside and the city is still a mess. Portals everywhere. Players scrambling. Guilds forming overnight like people suddenly remembered how to work together when monsters start showing up in the streets. The system has been running for 72 hours officially and already there is a whole economy around it. People selling loot. Trading materials. Offering carry services for currency. The game inside the game starting before anyone even figures out the main game. Kai is not interested in any of that noise. He is already 3 steps ahead of the economy everyone else is just discovering. His inventory is stacked. His levels are in a bracket nobody else has reached. His stats on the ranking board are so far ahead of second place that the gap looks like a different category entirely. He has one thing on his list today. The portal in the Northern District. Tier 2. The system upgraded the difficulty rating on it overnight and every guild in the city is treating it like a raid boss situation. Organizing parties of 10. Running strategy sessions. Taking it seriously the way people take things seriously when they are scared. Kai goes in alone at 7 in the morning before anyone else is even awake enough to notice. The inside of a Tier 2 portal is different from Tier 1. More space. Higher ceilings. Better enemy variety. The system clearly put more budget into Tier 2 because the environments are more detailed and the enemies have more complex behavior patterns. A first-time player would find this genuinely threatening. Kai finds it a slightly longer version of what he already did 3 times yesterday. He clears the first 4 sections in under 10 minutes. Standard route. Standard efficiency. The upgrades he applied to his gear overnight mean the enemies in Tier 2 are registering as only marginally more challenging than Tier 1 was yesterday. He is scaling faster than the content is scaling, which is the whole point. Section 5 is where it gets different. There is a room, not an enemy room, not a trap corridor, just a room, circular, empty stone floor, and in the exact center of it, on a small raised platform, an egg. It is not impressive. That is the first thing to say about it. It is small, fits in one hand. The color is somewhere between gray and beige, the kind of color that does not have a flattering name. The system tooltip that appears when Kai approaches says exactly 3 words. Common unidentified egg. No rarity rating. No stat preview. No description of what might be inside. Just those 3 words and a small icon that the system uses for items it has decided are not worth elaborating on. There is a value listed at the bottom of the tooltip. The system's estimated worth, 50 points, which in the current economy is basically 0. A Tier 1 enemy drops more than 50 points. A common chest in the first section drops more than 50 points. This egg is worth less than 5 minutes of basic grinding. Kai picks it up. He's back outside by 9 AM. The Northern District staging area has filled up while he was inside. 3 guilds are present, organized, color-coordinated in the way guilds get when they have decided branding matters. They are running final checks before their Tier 2 attempt. Kai walks out of the portal exit, alone, with a Tier 2 dungeon complete registered on his profile that these guilds can see on the regional clear board. They stare, obviously, because the clear board just updated with a solo clear on a Tier 2 portal and the name attached to it is the same name that has been sitting at the top of the global ranking since day 1. One of the guild leaders, a large guy in gear that costs serious points, notices the egg in Kai's hand. His eyes go to it. Read the color. Read the size. He says something to the person next to him. They both look, then they laugh. Not quietly. The kind of laugh that is designed to be heard. Because a guy who just solo cleared a Tier 2 dungeon is standing here holding an egg that the system rated as worth 50 points and that is apparently funny. Word spreads through the staging area in about 30 seconds. The mystery solo player, the one everyone has been trying to identify, just came out of a Tier 2 clear holding the most useless item in the portal. Someone says, all that and he farms common eggs. Someone else says, maybe the ranking is bugged. A third person pulls out their own system screen and starts taking what passes for a screenshot. For the forum posts. For the story of the time the top-ranked player in the world came out of a Tier 2 portal holding a gray egg worth 50 points. Kai looks at the egg in his hand, then at his system screen, then at the pet evolution menu that he has not opened until now because he did not have what he needed until now. Because here is the thing about the common unidentified egg. The thing that is not in the tooltip. The thing that is not in any guide because no guide covers it yet. The thing that Kai knows from the future timeline where someone figured it out after 8 months and the discovery broke the entire game economy for 3 weeks. The common unidentified egg is not common. The system labels it common because the system labels everything it cannot categorize as common by default. It is an unclassified egg, which means the system has not determined what is inside it yet, which means the final form of whatever hatches from it is not fixed, which means it can be shaped. The pet evolution system allows players to invest upgrade points into eggs before hatching to influence the outcome. Every other egg in the game has a fixed evolution tree. You can upgrade it but you are upgrading toward a predetermined result. The common unidentified egg has no fixed tree. Every point invested goes directly into raw potential with no ceiling. No ceiling. Kai opens the pet evolution menu, slots the egg in, reads the interface. The upgrade cost slider appears. It goes from 0 to a maximum that the system sets based on the player's available points. The maximum it offers Kai is 100 billion points. His current point balance is 104 billion, built from 3 days of solo portal clears with every bonus stacking on every run. A balance that no other player in the world is close to. A number that would take a full guild months to accumulate through normal play. Kai moves the slider to maximum, 100 billion points. The confirmation screen appears. The system lists what this investment means in practical terms. The final form of the pet will be determined by the point total invested. At this investment level, the system cannot calculate the final form in advance. The outcome is beyond its standard classification parameters. In simpler words, even the system does not know what is about to come out of this egg. Kai confirms. The egg starts changing immediately. The gray-beige color goes first, replaced by gold. Not a dull gold. The specific gold that does not look like a color so much as a light source. Like the egg is generating it from inside. The staging area notices. People stop talking. Someone drops their weapon. Then the egg gets bigger. Not slowly. In stages. Each stage faster than the last. Fist-sized to head-sized in 10 seconds. Head-sized to torso-sized in another 5. The gold intensifies with each stage. The light coming off it is real now. Actual illumination, casting shadows on the stone ground of the staging area. The 3 guilds have backed up. Not a strategic retreat. The involuntary kind. The kind that happens when the body makes the decision before the brain finishes processing. The egg is now the size of a car. The gold has shifted into something that looks layered, like scales forming on the outside of the shell. Like whatever is inside is already pressing against the surface, trying to define its own shape before it hatches. Then the system makes a sound. Not a personal notification. Not a screen pop. A sound. Audible. To everyone in the staging area, and then everyone in the district, and then everyone in the city, and then according to the reports that start coming in from every region simultaneously. Everyone on Earth. The system speaks. In third person. The way the system speaks when it has something it considers important enough to announce to every registered player simultaneously, regardless of location or current activity. The system reports that a pet evolution event of unprecedented scale has been detected. It states that an unidentified egg has received an investment beyond any previously recorded threshold. It announces that the resulting creature has been classified after analysis and that the classification required the creation of a new tier above the existing maximum. It states that a golden divine dragon has entered the world. It notes that the owner of this creature is the player currently ranked first globally. It advises all players that the presence of a divine tier pet represents a shift in the balance of the system and that all guilds and players should update their strategic assessments accordingly. It ends by stating that player 0 has been identified as an active participant and that the system recommends all other players proceed with awareness of this development. The egg shatters. What comes out is not small. It starts small. The size of a large dog when it first unfolds from the shell. Gold scales catching light from every direction. Wings folded against its body. Eyes closed. Then it opens its eyes, and the eyes are not one color. They cycle. Gold to white to something that is not a color the human eye has a name for, and back to gold again. Then it grows. Because divine tier pets do not stay at hatching size. The system is actively scaling it in real time as it registers the point investment and calibrates the physical form to match. Within 60 seconds it is the size of a building. Wings extended. Each wing spanning a distance that puts it wider than the staging area. The gold of its scales is generating actual warmth now. Actual light. The shadows in the district have shifted because there is a new light source above the rooftops. It looks at Kai. Not at the guilds. Not at the portal. At Kai. Specifically. With those cycling eyes that cannot decide what color to be. And it lowers its head. The massive geometric head with plating that looks like it was designed rather than grown. It lowers all the way down to Kai's level and holds there. Kai looks at it for a moment. Then he reaches out and puts one hand on the side of its jaw. The dragon makes a sound. Resonant. The kind of frequency that people feel in their chest rather than hear with their ears. The system registers the bond. Both of their profiles update simultaneously. The dragon's stats appear on Kai's screen. Solii. Assigned by the system based on divine tier classification. Divine. New classification. Previously did not exist in system records. The number is so large that the system displays it in a format that requires scrolling to read fully. Defense. Same situation. Faster than any previously recorded creature in the system database. Special abilities. 17. Each one flagged as either unique or divine tier exclusive. None of them have descriptions yet because the system has not finished writing them. Passive aura. All enemies within 1 kilometer register immediate threat assessment failure and default to retreat behavior. The guilds in the staging area are reading this. The ones who pulled up the public bond announcement that the system broadcast alongside the global notification. They are reading these numbers and then looking at the actual dragon standing in the northern district with its head lowered to the hand of a person they spent 20 minutes laughing at over a gray egg. Nobody is laughing now. One of the guild leaders, the large one who made the first comment, is standing very still. His system screen is open. He is staring at the passive aura line, reading the 1 kilometer radius note, and then looking around at the fact that he and his entire guild are well within 1 kilometer. His threat assessment indicator has already flipped to retreat. He closes his screen, looks at the dragon, looks at Kai. Then very quietly he turns to his guild and says they should probably move the planning session to a different location. They leave. All 3 guilds. Not running, but moving with the specific kind of purposeful speed that people use when they want to appear like they are not fleeing but are absolutely fleeing. Kai watches them go, then looks back at Solii, who is watching him with those cycling eyes. Waiting. Patient in the way that something ancient is patient even when it has only existed for 3 minutes. Kai's system screen is lighting up. Messages from guilds he has never spoken to. Friend requests from players in other countries. Recruitment offers appearing faster than he can dismiss them. The global announcement did exactly what global announcements do. Made everyone on Earth aware of something they were not aware of 30 seconds ago. Player 0 is no longer a mystery. The top-ranked player in the world has a divine dragon. And every guild on Earth just moved him from the interesting category to the urgent category. Kai dismisses every notification in one swipe. Looks at his next portal target on the map. Then at Solii. He says, "Can you fit through a portal entrance?" Solii shrinks. Not all the way, but enough. The system's shapeshifting function for bonded divine tier pets registering and activating without Kai having to ask twice. Kai nods, checks the map, starts walking. The most powerful pet in the history of the system falls into step beside him. Gold scales catching morning light. 17 abilities loaded and ready. An aura that makes every enemy in a kilometer radius forget how to be aggressive. Our boy just went from top of the leaderboard to a different category entirely. A category that did not exist this morning and now has exactly one member. The guilds can panic. The forums can explode. The world can figure out what Player 0 means for the system and the portals and the whole game that nobody asked to be enrolled in. Kai has portals to clear. The system announces a tournament on day 6. Not a suggestion. Not an optional event. A mandatory ranked competition for every active player above level 10. The system states in its third-person broadcast that a regional dominance tournament has been initialized. It explains that all qualifying players will be seeded based on current ranking. It notes that matches will be broadcast on system screens visible to every registered player globally. It confirms that the winner of each regional bracket will receive rewards classified at divine tier. It ends by stating that participation is not optional and that any qualifying player who refuses entry will be penalized with a 40% stat reduction until the tournament concludes. The system does not ask. The system decides. Within an hour the seedings are posted. Every player in the region can see the bracket, levels, stats, all public. All visible. The kind of transparency that makes people either very confident or very quiet depending on where their name lands. The number 1 seed in the regional bracket is Damon. That Damon. Football captain Damon. Cheap shoes Damon. Drove a car someone else paid for Damon. His physical stats translated into the system at a level that put him near the top of the local pack. He has been grinding hard since day 1. Full guild behind him. Best gear that money and points can buy. A team of supporters running carries for him around the clock to stack his levels as fast as possible. He is level 41. Highest in the regional bracket. Gear score maxed out for his level range. A full set of A-rank armor that his guild pooled resources to buy him. A weapon with 2 enhancement upgrades already applied. On paper he looks like the most prepared player in the region. On paper. His name at the top of the seed list has made him loud. Louder than usual. Which is saying something because Damon has never been quiet about anything. He has been in every system forum, every broadcast channel that players have set up in the game ecosystem, talking about the tournament, talking about his stats, talking about how the number 1 seed is going to run through the bracket without dropping a single round. He has not mentioned Kai by name, but he has mentioned Player 0, the mystery top-ranked player. He has said in multiple public posts that whoever Player 0 is, he is welcome to show up. That the tournament is the moment where real players prove themselves and rankings built on solo runs in empty portals do not translate to actual combat. The stadium that the system generated for the tournament is not a building. It is a space. A system-constructed arena that exists in a dimension adjacent to the portal network. Accessible through a special entry point the system opened in the city center. Capacity for spectators registered at 50,000 physical seats. Plus a global broadcast that every player anywhere in the world can pull up on their system screen. 50,000 people in the seats on day 1. Every seat filled. Because the system made entry free and the draw of watching top-ranked players fight in real time is apparently enough to override the general anxiety of living in a world that changed 6 days ago. The bracket runs in order of seedings. Highest seeds fight last. Damon as the number 1 seed is scheduled for the final match of the first round. His opponent is a mid-ranked guild player who everyone agrees is going to lose in under 2 minutes. But nobody is really watching for Damon's first match. They are watching for the second seed's first match. The name next to the 2 seed slot on the bracket. Player 0. Confirmed. Seated second behind Damon by the smallest possible margin because Damon's level is technically 1 higher even though every other stat category favors Kai by distances that make the level difference irrelevant. The forums exploded the moment the bracket posted. Because everyone on Earth has been wondering who Player 0 is for 6 days. And now the bracket just told them. And the bracket also just told them that if both seeds advance, Kai and Damon meet in the final. Damon sees the bracket. Goes immediately public. Says he has been waiting for this. Says Player 0 has been hiding behind solo runs and now has to fight a real opponent. says the final is going to be the moment everyone realizes that stats on a board do not tell the whole story. He says a lot of things. The forums archive all of them. Because the forums know what Damon does not know yet. That the person he is talking about went to the same school as him. Drove a car that Damon's lifestyle was funded by. Stood in a hallway while Damon tried to intimidate him and did not move a single inch. The forums are ready for this final. The whole world is ready for this final. The only question is whether both seeds make it there. Kai's first round match takes 4 seconds. Not 4 minutes. For seconds. His opponent is a level 38 player with decent gear and a reputation for aggressive early pressure. The kind of fighter who comes out fast and tries to end things before the other person gets settled. He comes out fast. Kai is already somewhere else. The movement speed differential is so large that the opponent's opening attack hits empty air. By the time he resets, Kai is behind him. One strike. Flat pump. The opponent's health bar goes from full to 0. For seconds. The arena is quiet for a moment after. Then it gets very loud. Damon's first round match takes 3 minutes. He wins. His guild cheers. He celebrates loudly. Points at the broadcast screen. Says something for the camera. It is a solid performance. For a level 41 player with A-rank gear fighting a level 33 opponent. The bracket advances. Both seeds move forward. The rounds continue. Kai's second match takes 6 seconds. His third takes 8. The opponents are getting stronger as the bracket narrows and the fights are still taking less time than it takes to read the match announcement. Damon's matches get more competitive as the bracket narrows, but he wins them. His guild is good. His gear is doing its job. He reaches the final looking like someone who has been in real fights and come out on top. He and Kai have not been in the same space since the hallway. Since the cheap shoes moment. Since the whole school watched Damon back down from a confrontation he started and then tried to pretend did not happen the way everyone saw it happen. The final is announced. The system broadcasts it globally. It states in third-person narration that the regional dominance tournament final will commence between the top 2 seeds. It notes that both players have advanced through the bracket without a single loss. It observes that this match has generated more spectator registrations than any previous system event since initialization. It recommends all players tune in. 50,000 in the arena. Millions watching globally. The biggest audience any fight in this system has ever had. Damon walks out first. Full A-rank armor. Gleaming. His guild's colors on his shoulder piece. He walks to the center platform with the energy of someone who has been preparing for this specific moment for 6 days. He looks at the cameras. He looks at the crowd. He raises his weapon. The crowd reacts. He is performing. And he is good at performing. This is his element. Big room. Loud crowd. All eyes on him. He has been the center of attention his whole life and he knows exactly how to use it. Then Kai walks out. No armor. That is the first thing everyone notices. He is wearing the same clothes he wears everywhere. No weapon drawn. Nothing in his hands. He walks to the center platform at normal pace. Does not look at the cameras. Does not look at the crowd. Looks at Damon. The crowd noise shifts. Confused energy. Because this does not look like a final. One person showed up to a championship match in full battle gear and the other person looks like he stopped by on the way to something else. Damon looks at him. Reads the no armor. Reads the empty hands. His expression does something that it tries to turn into confidence but lands slightly closer to unease. He says, loudly, for the broadcast, "You are going to fight me like that?" Kai looks at him. Then raises his right hand. Extends one finger. The index finger. Points it at Damon like he is making a small correction to something someone said. The arena goes completely silent. One finger. He is standing in the regional dominance tournament final. In front of 50,000 people and a global broadcast. And he is pointing one finger at the number 1 seed who is standing there in A-rank armor with a fully upgraded weapon. Damon's face does something complicated. Then he decides the correct response is to charge. Because Damon always decides the correct response is to charge. It has worked his whole life. Size and speed and aggression covering everything else. He activates his best skill. The system announces it on the broadcast screen. Rank skill. Titan Rush. Damage multiplier active. He crosses the platform in under a second. Full speed. Full power. The kind of charge that has ended every previous fight he has been in quickly. Kai does not move his feet. He moves the finger. One small redirect. Meets the incoming force at the exact angle that neutralizes it. Damon's momentum turns against him. He goes past Kai. Hits nothing. His own speed carrying him to the edge of the platform where he barely catches himself. The broadcast screen shows the damage exchange. Damon. 12% health lost from the redirect impact against his own armor. Damon turns around. Processes what just happened. Charges again. Different angle. Damon is not stupid about fighting even if he is loud about everything else. Kai redirects again. Same finger. Different position. Damon takes the edge of the platform again. Health bar drops another 8%. The crowd is making a sound that is not quite laughing and not quite cheering. Something in between. The specific sound of 50,000 people watching something they cannot fully process. Damon tries a skill combo. 3 abilities in sequence. His guild spent 2 days building this combo specifically. It has never failed in testing. The first ability hits air. The second ability gets redirected back into his own chest piece. The third ability never fires because the recoil from the second one staggers him. His armor cracks. Just the chest piece. A clean diagonal line across the most expensive part of his most expensive gear. The broadcast screen shows it in close-up. The rank armor integrity. 81%. Damon looks down at his chest. Then at Kai. Then at the one finger still extended. Kai says, loud enough for the broadcast to catch it clearly. Your footwork is wrong. It has been wrong since the first charge. Your guild built you for power and forgot to teach you angles. This armor is good. You just do not know how to use what is under it. Not a roast delivered with heat. But facts. Delivered the way he delivers everything. Flat. Accurate. In front of millions of people. The crowd makes that sound again. Louder. Damon charges a third time. Angrier. Which makes it worse. Because anger removes the last bit of calculation from his movement and what is left is just size and speed with no intelligence directing it. Kai sidesteps. 1 step. The finger taps Damon's lead shoulder as he passes. 1 tap. Precisely placed on the joint where the A-rank pauldron connects to the chest piece. The armor does not just crack this time. The pauldron separates. Flies off the platform. The chest piece fractures along the existing diagonal line and splits into 2 pieces. The gauntlet on his lead hand shears at the wrist joint and spins away. The rank armor integrity. 0%. Armor destroyed. The system announces it on the broadcast. In large text. Visible to every screen globally. Damon is standing in the center of the platform without his armor. The underlayer visible. The weapon still in his hand. His health bar at 64% from his own redirected momentum. His gear score effectively zeroed. He is breathing hard. Kai is not breathing differently from how he walked out. The one finger is still extended. Damon looks at it. Then at the crowd. Then at the broadcast screen showing his destroyed armor in slow motion replay. The pauldron sailing off the platform in crystal clear detail. He looks back at Kai. And for the second time. In front of a much larger audience than the school hallway. He does not have a next move. Kai lowers the finger. Looks at Damon the way he looked at Mr. Choi on the sidewalk. The way he looked at Sarah walking past her at the party. Not with anger. Not with satisfaction. But completion. A task that was always going to end this way, ending this way on schedule. He says, forfeit or continue. Either way the result is the same. The arena is so quiet that those words reach the back row clearly. Damon looks at the weapon in his hand, then sets it down on the platform, stands up straight, and says nothing, which is the loudest thing he has said in 6 days. The system registers the forfeit. Its third-person broadcast goes global immediately. It announces that the regional dominance tournament has concluded. It states that Kai has been confirmed as regional champion. It notes for the global audience that the championship match lasted 4 minutes and 12 seconds and that the victor used a single finger for the duration of the engagement. It records that A-rank armor was destroyed without the champion equipping a weapon. It awards the Divine Tier prize package and updates the global ranking to reflect the championship result. The gap between first and second place on the ranking board just became a different kind of number. Kai walks off the platform, does not look at the cameras, does not raise his hands, does not perform anything for the crowd that is now very loud in every direction. He has a Tier 3 portal marked on his map for this afternoon. Solii is waiting outside the arena. The divine dragon whose presence alone makes every enemy in a kilometer radius reconsider its life choices. The tournament was an interruption. A scheduled one, but an interruption. Our boy has things to do. The tournament trophy is still warm and Kai is already on a helicopter. Not celebrating. Not posting about the win. Not doing any of the things that a person who just became regional champion in a globally broadcast tournament in front of millions of viewers would typically do. He is looking at satellite images on his system screen. Specifically at a cluster of coordinates in the South Pacific that his family's real estate division flagged 3 days ago when he sent them a very specific search request. The request was simple. Find an island. Not a resort island. Not a developed island. Not an island with neighbors or shipping lanes or tourist infrastructure. An island that is off the main maps. That has been privately owned and untouched for decades. That has enough landmass to build on seriously but not so much that it becomes impossible to secure. They found one in 36 hours. His family's reach being what it is. The purchase closed this morning while Kai was in the tournament. Automated. His legal team handled the paperwork. His financial team handled the transfer. By the time he walked off the championship platform, the island was already his. He looks at the coordinates, looks at the helicopter speed, calculates the arrival time. Then he closes the satellite images and opens his system screen, because the island is only part of what today is about. The other part requires finding some specific people first. Here is something the tournament revealed that the ranking board did not show clearly. The bottom of the leaderboard is interesting. Not the middle. Not the players who are average and grinding toward average results. The very bottom. The players with the lowest scores. The ones the system has been quietly flagging with a status that reads underperforming in small text that most people do not notice because most people are looking at the top of the board. Kai noticed. Because Kai reads everything. The underperforming flag does not mean weak. That is the thing. That is the detail nobody else has caught yet. The system flags players as underperforming when there is a gap between their hidden potential stat and their current performance stat. The hidden potential stat is not visible on the public board. It requires a specific F-rank item to read. An item that the system shop listed under analysis tools with a description that said minor diagnostic function. Novelty use only. Kai bought 30 of them the first day. He has been running the diagnostic on players he observes in the field, checking the gap between what the board shows and what the hidden stat says. And the results have been building a list in his head for 6 days. There are 11 players in the regional bracket whose hidden potential stats are in the top percentile globally. Not top of the region, top of the world. 11 people who the system has identified as extraordinary and who are currently sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard because something went wrong in their early access. Bad starting gear. Wrong portal choices. Groups that held them back. One of them lost everything in a monster attack on day 2 and has been rebuilding from zero since. Another one has a combination of stats that does not match any standard combat style, so every guild they tried to join told them they did not fit the build requirements. The system sees what these 11 people could be. Nobody else does. Kai does. He finds them one by one over the course of the morning. Most of them are in the lower districts. The areas of the city that the big guilds have written off as low value because the portals there are lower tier and the loot does not justify the organized effort. These 11 people are grinding in low-tier portals with bad gear, getting minimal results and zero recognition. Kai finds each one, watches them fight for about 60 seconds. The hidden potential stat confirming itself in how they move. The natural instincts that bad gear and bad circumstances cannot fully suppress. He does not give a big speech. He does not explain the potential stat or the diagnostic or the island or the plan. He says the same thing to each one. Simple. Direct. Come with me. I have a better option. Most of them recognize him. The tournament broadcast reached everyone. The one-finger fight is the most replayed system event in history after 6 hours. They know who is standing in front of them making the offer. All 11 say yes. The island does not look like much when the helicopter approaches. Green. Flat in the center. Rocky edges. Dense tree cover that hides the interior from aerial view unless you know exactly where to look. No buildings visible. No infrastructure. From above it looks like nothing. Like a place the map forgot about. That is the point. Kai lands. Walks the perimeter, checks the system overlay that his construction team has already uploaded. Because while he was in the tournament, his team was here. Not building yet. Surveying, mapping, installing the preliminary sensor network that his tech division put together in 48 hours based on the specifications he sent them on day 3 of the system event. The island has natural defensive geography. The rocky edges make water approach difficult except at 3 specific points. The elevated center gives sightlines in every direction. The tree coverage means aerial observation is limited to direct overhead angles. It is not a perfect fortress yet, but the bones are right. Kai opens his system screen, activates the territory claim function, a feature that appeared in the system on day 4 and that most players have used to claim small urban zones near portals for resource farming. Nobody has used it on an island, because nobody thought of an island. The claim processes. The system registers the territory. Then it does something unexpected. Because the territory being claimed is significantly larger than any previous claim in the system. And because the claimant's ranking triggers a bonus function that the territory claim feature has but that nobody has activated before because nobody has combined this ranking level with this territory size. The system announces to Kai privately, in its third-person format, that a territory of significant scale has been registered. It states that the claimant's ranking qualifies for sovereign territory status rather than standard territory status. It explains that sovereign territory status unlocks construction tiers unavailable in standard claims. It notes that defensive structures, training facilities, and enhancement workshops can now be built at specifications exceeding anything currently available in player-owned zones. It confirms that the island is now classified as a sovereign domain and that all activity within its borders is under the full authority of the registered owner. Kai reads this, then reads it again. then closes the notification and looks at his 11 new recruits standing on the beach behind him. He says, "We are going to build something." The construction starts the same day. Kai's real-world resources and his system resources are working together now in a way that most players cannot replicate because most players do not have both. Real-world construction teams arriving by boat with materials. System construction functions activated through the sovereign territory interface, unlocking things that regular building cannot achieve. The combination is not something the system designers anticipated. The game was built assuming players would use system tools for system building and real-world resources for real-world building. Kai is using both simultaneously on the same project, and the results are producing structures that exist in both spaces at once. Physically real and system enhanced. The first structure is the outer wall. Not stone, not wood. A composite material that Kai's tech team developed that the system reads as a defensive structure and applies its fortification bonus to. The bonus multiplies the structural integrity by a factor that turns what would be a solid wall into something that reads on system scans as a dungeon barrier. Enemies that the system generates cannot pass a dungeon barrier without being significantly higher tier than the barrier's rating. The wall around Kai's island now has a barrier rating equivalent to a tier 4 dungeon wall. Nothing in the current regional portal range comes close to that tier. The island is already more secure than any player-built zone anywhere in the world. Second structure. The training facility. This is for the 11 recruits. Because potential is not performance. The gap between what these 11 people could be and what they currently are requires closing. And closing it fast requires something that regular grinding cannot provide. Kai spent a significant portion of his point balance on something specific for this facility. Enhancement pods. F-rank items in the system shop. Listed as minor training aids. Novelty use. Low effectiveness. The trash tier that everyone scrolled past. 40 of them. Arranged in the specific configuration that Kai knows from the future timeline produces a resonance field when activated together. A resonance field that the system did not intend to create from F-rank items but that the combination effect generates anyway. Inside the resonance field, training time compresses. An hour of training inside the field produces results equivalent to 40 hours outside it. 40-to-1 ratio. Hidden in the trash tier of the system shop. The 11 recruits go into the facility. Kai calibrates each pod to their individual hidden potential stat. Not a generic enhancement. Targeted. Specific to what each person's natural ability is pointing toward. He runs diagnostics while they train. Watches the numbers move. The hidden potential stats activating in real time as the resonance field does what it was built to do. 6 hours later, the 11 recruits come out. Their public stats have moved. Not slightly. Significantly. In 6 hours of compressed training, they have gained what would take 3 weeks of regular grinding. The underperforming flags on their system profiles have flipped to a different status. The system does not have a word for what they are now. It generates a new classification. Latent Elite. A status that has never appeared on any player profile before today. The 11 of them look at their own stat screens. Then at each other. Then at Kai. One of them, the one who lost everything on day 2 and has been rebuilding from zero, says something quiet. The others nod. Kai gives them their roles. Not guard roles. Not security titles. Something more specific. Each one assigned to a function that matches their natural stat profile. The one with the highest perception stat runs the sensor network. The one with the highest intelligence stat runs the system analysis function. The ones with the highest combat stats run the perimeter. Each person in exactly the role their hidden potential was always pointing toward. The island runs its first full operational day. Smooth. No wasted motion. 11 people doing 11 specific jobs that fit them exactly. The third structure goes up the next morning. The enhancement workshop, where Kai processes the loot from his portal runs and turns raw materials into gear. Not for sale. For the 11. Because bringing people up to their potential and then leaving them in bad gear is like building a race car and putting the wrong fuel in it. He runs 3 portals that day. Solo. Solely making the runs faster than any previous clear time because a Divine Dragon's passive aura combined with a kilometer radius threat suppression means most enemies in Tier 3 portals simply stop existing as threats before Kai reaches them. The loot haul from 3 Tier 3 portals in one day is significant. Enough to gear all 11 recruits to a level that matches their new stats. By day 3 the island has 6 structures. Training facility. Enhancement workshop. Command center where the system analysis function runs continuously. A portal anchor point that Kai had installed by connecting a system node to the island's coordinates. And a residential block because people need somewhere to sleep that is not a beach. The portal anchor is the most important piece. It means portals can be opened directly to the island from anywhere in the system network. Kai can run a portal on the other side of the world and return to the island in seconds. The 11 recruits can deploy to any portal location and return home just as fast. It is not a guild. Guilds have applications and hierarchies and politics and members competing for the same resources. This is something else. 11 people who the world wrote off. Operating from an island that does not appear on any public map. With stats that nobody outside this island knows about. Under a system classification that has never existed before. Kai stands at the edge of the elevated center of the island, looking out at the perimeter wall. The structures behind him. Solii curled somewhere in the eastern section where the tree coverage is densest and there is enough space for a divine dragon to be comfortable. He checks the global ranking board. Still first. Gaps still growing. He checks the construction timeline. Phase 2 starts tomorrow. Underground level. The part that will not be visible from the air or the water or any system scan that is not operating at a level only he currently has access to. Everyone else in the game is still arguing about portal routes and guild politics and who deserves the higher seed in the next tournament bracket. Our boy just built a kingdom. And he has not even started on the basement yet. The system auction house opens on day 10. Nobody asked for it. The system just decided the economy needed a centralized marketplace and generated one. A physical building in the city center that exists in both real space and system space simultaneously. The same way the tournament arena existed. The same way the island's wall exists. Both real and system registered at once. The building is enormous. Marble floors that the system generated because apparently the aesthetic department was working overtime. High ceilings. Floating display cases showing items in rotation. A main auction hall with seating for 500 and a bidding interface that every registered player in the world can access remotely through their system screen. Day 1 of the auction house and the biggest guilds are already treating it like a power demonstration. Because that is what rich people do with new venues. They show up and spend in ways that remind everyone else of the gap. The Titan Guild goes first. Largest organized guild in the region. 300 members. More combined points than any other single organization currently operating. They have been the loudest voice in the system economy since day 2. First to buy the best gear. First to claim the highest valued territory zones. First to establish the kind of visible dominance that makes smaller players treat them as the benchmark. Their guild leader is a man named Voss. Professional. The kind of person who treats a game economy like a real economy because to him there is no difference. He showed up to the auction house on opening day in a group of 12. All in matching S-rank adjacent gear. All with the synchronized energy of people who rehearsed the entrance. They are here for one item specifically. The whole city knows which item. Because the auction house posted its premium listings 48 hours in advance and one listing sat at the top of every discussion forum since the moment it appeared. The Sovereign Blade. Here is what the system says about the Sovereign Blade. It is the first S-rank weapon to appear in the regional auction. Forged from materials that only drop in Tier 4 portals at a rate of 1%. Enhanced with 3 passive abilities that stack with each other. Attack multiplier that scales with the user's rank. A bonus that activates specifically in tournament combat. And an aesthetic that the system apparently designed to look like the most important object in any room it occupies. Long silver. The kind of blade that catches light from angles where there is no light source. The display case it sits in has a separate atmosphere effect generating a faint glow around it. The system is not subtle about which item it considers the centerpiece of this auction. Starting bid. 100 million points. The forum spent 48 hours discussing who could afford to go above that. The consensus landed on Titan Guild as the only realistic buyer. Their point reserve is public knowledge because Voss made it public knowledge. Announcing your wealth is a power move when your wealth is genuinely extraordinary. 1 billion points. That is what the forums predicted Titan Guild would spend. Enough to secure the blade without leaving themselves exposed. Enough to send a message about where they sit in the regional hierarchy. They arrive at the auction confident. Because they are the only ones who can afford this. Everyone knows it. Including them. Kai arrives at the auction house alone. No entourage. Solii is back on the island because a divine dragon in a marble building is impractical. He walks in wearing the simple expensive nothing-to-prove outfit he always wears. Checks the room. Finds a seat in the 3rd row. Not the front row. The 3rd. Because the front row is where people sit when they need the visibility. Voss notices him immediately. The tournament broadcast made Kai's face recognizable to every player in the region. Voss looks at him the way powerful people look at someone whose power they cannot fully quantify yet. Calculating. Not threatened. But aware. He nods. The professional acknowledgement between people at similar levels of a hierarchy. Kai nods back. Then looks at his system screen and starts reading something that has nothing to do with the auction. The room fills. 500 seats. Every guild with any significant point balance represented. Smaller players watching on their system screens globally. The auction house broadcast function putting the whole event in front of millions of viewers. Because the system-decided auctions should be spectator events. The auctioneer is a system-generated figure. Professional. Efficient. It opens the proceedings with a description of the sovereign blade that the audience does not need because everyone present has memorized the listing already. Opening bid. 100 million. Titan Guild places it immediately. The opening bid as a formality. Counterbids come in from 3 other guilds. 200 million. 350. 500. Each one pushing the number higher while Titan Guild watches. Voss's bidding strategy is visible to anyone who understands auctions. Let the smaller players spend first. Let them feel like they are in the race. Then come in at the point where they cannot follow. At 650 million, the smaller guilds start dropping out. The number is beyond their reserve. They bid what they could and now they are spectators. At 700 million, it is just Titan Guild and one other organization. A newer guild called Apex that has been challenging Titan's regional dominance for 3 days. Their point reserve is not public knowledge. They have been spending quietly, building without announcing. The counterbid at 700 million is either a genuine attempt or a test to see where Titan's ceiling is. Voss goes to 800 million without hesitation. Apex counters with 900. Titan goes to 1 billion. The number Voss wanted to land on. The number the forums predicted. The number that says we have this and everyone here knows it, so let us stop pretending. Apex does not counter. The room goes to the pause that precedes a gavel. The system's auctioneer counts. Standard procedure. 3 counts. Sold. The count reaches 2. A new bid registers on the board. 100 billion points. The room does not react immediately, because the number is large enough that the brain has to run it twice before accepting it as real. 100 billion. Not 1 billion. Not 10 billion. 100 billion points. A number that is larger than the combined point reserves of every guild in this room. Larger than what most players will accumulate in months of serious grinding. Larger than anything the auction house system was probably calibrated to expect as a single bid entry. The auctioneer pauses. The system pauses. The display board pauses. All 3 requiring a moment to process a number that is sitting outside the range of normal auction activity. Then the board updates. New high bid. 100 billion points. Register 2. The board shows the ranking number rather than the name because the system uses ranking as the identifier in formal transactions. Ranking 1. Voss turns around. Looks at the 3rd row. At the person sitting there reading something on his system screen who has not looked up from it since the auction started. Kai is still reading his screen. He placed the bid with the same energy someone uses to skip a song they do not want to hear. One motion. Barely any attention allocated to it. Voss stares at him for a long moment. Then turns back to face the front. Because 100 billion is not a number Titan Guild counters. It is not a number anyone in this room counters. It is not a number that exists within the range of competitive bidding. It is a number that ends conversations. The auctioneer counts. 1, 2, 3, sold. The sovereign blade comes out of its display case. The system transfers it to Kai's inventory. The glow effect that the display generated moves with it briefly and then fades because the blade is now just an item in a bag and not a centerpiece being lit for presentation. The room is watching him. Every person in 500 seats. Every viewer on the global broadcast. Waiting. Because spending 100 billion points on an S-rank weapon is already the most significant single purchase in the system's 10-day history and the story is not over yet. Kai closes his system screen. Stands up. Reaches into his inventory. Pulls out the sovereign blade. It looks exactly like the listing. Long silver. The light catch is real up close. The passive ability glow along the edge is subtle but visible. For approximately 3 seconds it is exactly what everyone paid to see. The S-rank weapon in the hands of the number 1 ranked player. Then Kai holds it out horizontally. Both hands. Reads it the way he reads enemies in portals. The way he reads stat sheets and system tooltips and everything else. Thorough. Reaching a conclusion. He nods once. To himself. The nod of someone whose assessment confirmed what they already suspected. Then he breaks it. Not with effort. Not dramatically. He applies force at the exact stress point of the blade. The point where the metal grain structure of a system-generated weapon has its weakest alignment. The blade snaps. 2 pieces. The glow along the edge flickers and dies. The passive abilities deactivate as the system registers the item's integrity at 0. The sound it makes in a room that is completely silent is very loud. 500 people watch the sovereign blade become 2 pieces of metal in the hands of the person who just paid 100 billion points for it. Voss is staring. His expression has moved past calculating into something that has no professional category. Apex's representative in the 2nd row has stopped pretending to look at anything other than what just happened. The smaller guild representatives in the back rows are pulling out whatever passes for phones in a system environment to document this moment. The global broadcast is running the break on loop already. The auction house cameras caught it from 4 angles. All 4 are now displayed simultaneously on the system feed. Kai holds up the 2 halves, looks at them, then looks at the room. He says, the same flat informational voice he uses for everything. It is too weak for my pet. He sets both pieces on the seat next to him, like leaving a tip that he decided against. Then he walks toward the exit. The room does not react until he is through the door. Then it reacts all at once. 500 people talking simultaneously. The broadcast comment feed exploding. Forum posts generating faster than the system can index them. Voss looks at the 2 pieces of the sovereign blade sitting on an empty seat in the 3rd row. Pieces of an item his guild spent 2 days planning to acquire. An item that just got purchased for 100 times his maximum bid and broken in front of him 45 seconds later because the buyer decided it was not good enough for a dragon. He picks up his system screen, opens the Titan Guild channel, says 3 words to his officers. Find that island. Back on the island, Kai drops the 2 pieces of the sovereign blade into the enhancement workshop input tray. Because broken S-rank materials still have component value. The metal from a sovereign blade when processed correctly produces an enhancement reagent that upgrades existing gear by a margin that no purchasable enhancement item matches. He runs the process. The 2 pieces dissolve into a concentrated material. He applies it to one of the 11 recruits' weapons. The upgrade registers. The weapon's stat line jumps. 100 billion points. Spent on an S-rank weapon that he broke in half in front of the most powerful guild in the region. And the output of that move is a weapon upgrade for someone his island just pulled out of the bottom of the leaderboard. He checks his point balance. After the 100 billion spent. After all the island construction. After the training pods and the enhancement materials and everything else. He has more than when the system started. Because solo portal clears with a divine dragon and a sovereign territory bonus compound faster than any other income structure in the current game. The money is not the point. The money is just the tool. The island is the point. The 11 people now running at their actual potential are the point. The kingdom being built below everyone's radar while every major guild in the region is focused on the guy who just snapped an S-rank sword and walked out of an auction house is the point. Our boy spent 100 billion points today. And somehow ended the day richer than he started it.